them all. 1-for-1, the deal's done. Bobby Mack let us know. Ryan Stromey lost it twice. Drake from Manning was not nice. 2 good picks, they went for Griff. Pete just had to go. Eric Greiber buyout, what was that all about? Miko signed a 3-year deal, and my friends, that ain't no steal. Traded for Spooner, shoulda canned him sooner. Chris Russell, Lucic, no movement on their deals. Pete left a tire fire. Bobby Nix is searching for the perfect person. Pete left a tire fire. Now it's tough to do well when you're stuck in cap hell.
Season starts on Saturday against Seattle. What's up, everybody? Dusty and Lieutenant Eric coming at you from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studios. Matt, you can actually turn my phones back up a bit. Maybe it's just the song that was a little bit loud. I want to hear myself as we absolutely destroy the Edmonton Oilers today here on the Nielson Show. My goodness, how do you lose to the San Jose Sharks? Are you kidding me? Especially when you've only got 2 wins on the year and you desperately need the game. And don't start with and I saw it last night online a little bit, man, they get goalied again. Enough with that garbage. What a horrible excuse. Getting goalied is an excuse for losers. It's as simple as that. Lieutenant Eric, how are you?
39 saves, man, on 41
enough.
shots.
Enough already. I think Skinner might have had as many high-danger scoring chances against him than Blackwood did at the other end. This is going to be a long show. This is going to be a long show today. I got a few things I want to say about this team.
Yeah.
A few things you got to say about the leadership group
Lack
of
of
this
leadership
team.
group. Hey,
because I don't know what's wrong with Connor McDavid. I mean, he's obviously hurt, but he looks like he's hurt. He shouldn't be playing.
But a hurt McDavid is better than 50% of the league.
Yeah, well, McDavid's clearly hurt. Draisaitl probably doesn't care anymore. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins took some stupid penalties down the stretch. You can't.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
When Darnell Nurse is like the best player from the leadership group, and he too screwed up, and it led to a goal. You're like, okay, well, what's going on here? So they can fire Jay Woodcroft today all they want, but that group of players, this is on them. I mean, what else do you suppose? You're going to put this whole start on Jay Woodcroft? You cannot give this group of players a free pass by firing a coach. They will never learn. Ever. David Miller's in and says, I skipped work today just for the nasty chat. I love it. Listen, man, I'm not going to be in today.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because the nasty chat's going to be sick on the Nielsen Show over at Edmonton Sports Talk today. Tell your friends. David Miller, who I was in kindergarten with a David Miller, and he was a genius. He could read at a grade 5 level in kindergarten.
He was on Monday Night Football once upon a time, was he not?
Was this David Miller?
Is that
that might be the same David Miller.
That's the same guy, yeah.
That's not my David Miller. But this nasty chat David Miller was probably at Century Casino one night.
Are you thinking of the broadcaster?
Is that him?
No, it wasn't David Miller. It's it was the comedian.
Same thing. It was Miller, right? It's Miller David.
That is for David Miller.
David Miller.
Skipping work today.
Missed
So
you on
slide
Monday
into the
Night
nasty
Dennis
chat.
Miller.
Dennis, same thing.
You got what? You didn't know Dennis Miller? Yeah, well, I know. I just find that funny.
Well, you didn't jump in with the correct answer.
Yeah. Because I didn't. I was like, David Miller. There's no comedian named David Miller. I didn't know that didn't know Dennis Miller. That's weird.
Well, I was just trying to remember the name, but you didn't jump in. You have no right to come at us. You can't come at us.
Matty, let me focus.
Go at the Edmonton Oilers.
Let me focus on ripping the Edmonton Oilers here. By the way, Mr. Lean did hit, and I was 3-0 on my cool bet lock shot plays of the week, and that was ruined last night.
Field goals, baby.
Hey, field goals, man. Look, thank God for the Panthers and Bears living up to being a garbage game, with the exception of one more pass caught by Adam Thielen, and we would have cashed a plus 1025. I think I got it at plus 975 by the time I got around to betting it last night. So Adam Thielen and Bryce Young, you suck. But the Oilers handle most of the suck today, and we'll get into that. But how was Thursday night at Century Casino, buddy?
Yeah, Troy, Wheels, Andrea, Jason, Matt Iwanek, Mr. Lean showing up
What
as
a
well.
crew.
I think he had a pretty good night. Carson brought his son. But then when I went and asked Carson, I said, Carson, who did you bring with you tonight? He goes, oh, my friend. And then his son goes, "I'm not your friend. I'm your son." And I was extremely confused at that
How old
point.
was his son?
Oh, he was an older gentleman.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Our
Yeah,
age
okay,
kind
all
of
right.
thing, like old
I'm
enough to
not
drive.
your friend.
Yeah,
I'm your son.
It was something. Rob was there. I don't know. Of course, Trevor Savage Plummer, Renee, Matt.
Decent crew.
I think Elvin was around walking. I think, yeah. Norma Jean. Norma Jean returned, so I'm thankful for that.
Good to see Norma Jean roll in.
So
that's awesome.
Staff were great.
So it sounds really nice.
Smoked brisket cheesesteaks were.
Oh,
He didn't even get the special.
Matty, you went out to Thursday Night Football. You didn't get the smoked brisket cheesesteak?
Here's the thing.
Whoa.
I've had the smoked brisket cheesesteak. It was delicious.
Yeah.
So I feel like
I was with you
there
night.
comes a point where I got to try something else. So I tried one of their burgers. Delicious.
It's huge.
Apple smoked bacon.
As big as your head.
Some onion rings on it. Like not on the side. On it.
In the burger.
Just delicious.
Wow.
That thing was sauced up.
And the Caesar salad I got with it.
Yeah, I like that
well
one.
done
Yeah.
Caesar salad. Like
Really?
a good amount of dressing.
Good.
Like they didn't
Is
cheap
there
out
parm on there?
that.
Is there
There was
parm on that?
parm on there.
Yes.
It was a
Loving
good
that.
sized bowl. Sometimes you get places and like you get like 5 pieces of lettuce. No, it was a good sized bowl. Their menu, I want to kind of go through the menu.
You're going to try to take a run
But
of the whole thing?
I regret, like, to a degree, not having the smoked brisket cheesesteak. But once I ate the burger, I was pretty happy.
There's always next Thursday.
Well, there's not a lot of time left for the prize.
I know.
For the trip to
A couple more games.
November 20th. It's coming quick.
I'm still going to go there anyways. Slum around, hang out.
Meet Carson.
Me, Carson, and his friend, his son.
This one says, Dusty, you're not wearing plaid. You said you would until the Oilers won. Derek from the Hat. You know, so I knew this. I did this on purpose today.
That is a bet.
No, yeah, exactly. Who in the world would back out of a bet? That would be ridiculous. No, but I got up this morning and I was just like, I've been wearing plaid all week, but Leon Draisaitl can't move his feet for a 25-second shift. Why should anybody do anything to try to help them get off the schneid?
You're writing a song. Is this a song?
Is that what's happening? Is that what?
You
Well,
wearing
the
plaid,
week and the feet,
Draisaitl,
like,
confidence issues.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many things to discuss. The first hour of the show today is basically just going to be one huge post-game show, the morning after show for EM Utility Locating. By the way, post-game show last night tapped out at what, like 1,130 people or something. I watched the entire bloody thing. I didn't go to bed till like 12:30 last night. It was great. That nasty chat last night was absolutely insane. We're at like 6,000 views now on the post-game show last night. So everybody's obviously very fired up. What would you do today? I mean, if you're – I don't even know who would make this decision today. Like, is it Ken Holland? Is it Paul Coffey through Daryl Cates? Is it Jeff Jackson? Who makes the call on what happens
Through
today?
Daryl Cates.
I mean, this is how I kind of see the structure of the organization. There's Daryl Cates up here, but he wants to stay out of it.
Yes, okay.
So then there's Jeff Jackson here. And then there's Paul Coffey over here who goes up and is connected to Daryl Cates and then is a roundabout way, like his way into Jeff Jackson. And then there's Ken Holland over here reading the guide and record book. And there's Jay Woodcroft right here who doesn't even have a full roster of players to actually coach with. And then there's all the players down here who just can't score goals now all of a sudden.
Cates staying out of it.
I think so. I think that's pretty much the case.
Well, is it now preventative measures, I guess, in terms of a next step? I mean, preventing anything worse to come by pulling an alarm here? Like, this team is crap right now. They're going to have to be the ones to get out of it, right? What do you
Yeah, I mean,
you switch coaching. I know Matty brought it too as a next step to kind of shake things up. But if the group can't play well and they're lacking confidence, some are, some aren't.
well, that even the message from the room is not the same. We're going to hear all the post games. We work our way through the 6 o'clock hour. But Leon Draisaitl said, yeah, there's just not a lot of confidence on some guys in the room right now. And Nugent Hopkins was asked about it, and Nugent Hopkins simply said, yeah, I don't think this is a confidence issue. So, I don't know. The players are thinking different things. Jay Woodcroft and Manson, when they were walking across the ice at the end of the game, there was a video clip of them where I think Woodcroft said, well, we might be fired. And Manson goes, yep. So, who knows? Or he said, maybe that might be the end. I'm not a lip reader.
But what did they really say? 780-218-9999. We could have a little fun with that this morning.
We had some great tweets last night because Tommy on the postgame show referred to this as a soap opera.
That was a nice
So
one.
I laid it out last night. I said, give us soap opera names for this season for the Edmonton Oilers. And this could be how you win text of the day today. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999 in the Paris Jewelers inbox. 780-218-9999. What would the soap opera of this season be called right now? 780-218-9999 for Paris Jewelers, local family-owned business that started in Edmonton, now has 22 stores across Canada. Early Black Friday deals are going on now, including a 4-carat lab-created diamond ring for only $99.99. That's $9,900. That's 4 carats. Like, this is the peak stuff. Plus, you don't have to pay until 2025 with their flexible financing options.
By that time, the cap will be higher.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Visit www.parisjewelers.com. Anyway, some of my favorite soap opera names last night that came in on Twitter. Coronation Bleak.
Thank you.
That one I made sure I got for you.
We were talking to some Corey at the Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge
Were
last
you?
night, as it were. Yeah.
What'd you call it? Some Corey?
That's what they
call
That's
it.
what they call it on the street for short. Yeah.
Oh,
Corey,
wow.
the
Corey.
Corey.
I thought not corny.
Well,
I thought
it's
maybe,
that too.
yeah.
But I really enjoyed that. What was it again?
The Coronation Bleak. The Young and the Listless.
Ooh.
The Young and the Useless.
Ooh.
As My Stomach Turns. Which is really good.
Eddie there from TSN.
Yeah, Eddie had General
Malaise.
Malaise. That was a good one, too. Edster, he's a huge Oilers fan who's just bitter right now. He's texting me late last night. This is a good one from Morgan on Twitter last night. One life to ruin. No goals to save our lives. The young and the winless. There's so many good ones. Give us the soap opera name for the Oilers season so far. This one's in. No Passions, which is good because Passions was my go-to soap opera in high school. Yeah, that's a really good one.
But it felt like a playoff game, hey? Elimination play. Like you're down 3-1 in the series, and this is it. That was the vibe.
That was very much
the
vibe. Well, we're gonna get into the entire bloody game here, obviously.
Black Friday, as Too Speedy 2 says in the nasty chat.
Well, you can keep them coming in. Soap opera names for this season. This is a good text that's trickled into 780-218-9999. Woodcroft, Dave, we might be fired. Dave Manson says,
That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
But just in that, yep. He said it all in that one. Yep.
Glenn Gullinson's waiting for them at the edge of the ice and goes, I'm your Huckleberry. I hope they go down at the OK Corral against Holland and Jeff Jackson, and it's just a big shoot it up. And Daryl Cates comes out and says, that's it, you're fired. And Jay Woodcroft turns around and looks at him and says, I don't think I'll allow you to fire me today. That would be legendary. Yeah. Oh, my God.
There's plus content right there.
780-218-9999. One of you, probably a soap opera title, will end up winning text of the day today for A&W, $20 gift card to A&W. If you want to get your hands on that, you can go check out the Chicken Crunchers. Who moved all my liners over here? This must have been Tommy.
Oh, no. He does like to sit over
there. Put things back the way they were, Gazzola. Put things back. This isn't even all of them. My goodness. I was just going to say, try the Chicken Crunchers. 3 different types. Pat Maroon's bib. I want your blood, and I want your soul. That's from Johnny Ringo. Classic line. All right, let's lay out the show for you. Then we can actually start sharing our thoughts on this disaster. It's a disaster. They're technically not the worst team in the league. The only team that's worse than them is San Jose, and San Jose beat them. The only reason the Oilers are higher than them in the standings is because they've played one less game.
And a game in hand. Yeah, I mean,
the big game in hand.
The way you look at
the
it,
Oilers
right?
do have a game in hand on the Sharks for the first overall pick in the draft. Unbelievable. We'll get into your morning after show coming up here for EM Utility Locating. We'll go there in the 6 o'clock hour. Tell your friends about the Nielson Show, Edmonton Sports Talk, the post game, the lock shop, the hangout, 2 guys, Oil Stream. We've got you covered today. I'm actually very disappointed I'm not going to be on Oil Stream today because that'll be a great show too. Maddie will be in with Tommy Gazzola as I will be at the airport on the way to Winnipeg. Mike Johnson's going to pop by for Pro-Am Sports just after 7 o'clock this morning, your Cool Bet hotline of the day. Big day for us here at Edmonton Sports Talk. It's Canning Day down at Alley Cat. Eric's going to be whipping down there later on, meeting YouTube Trev And hopefully Trev has the batteries for his camera this time, unlike last time we were at Alley Cat. But that'll be fun. You get to see how the
YouTube
meat's
Trev.
made, you know? Like,
No, this is gonna be good. And he wants to have a bit of a taste. He's gonna try to get a taste. I don't know how
YouTube
he's gonna-
Travis?
He wants a taste.
Hey, we got to try for the first time together.
I know.
Right? Better give him a
we'll
heads
see
up
what
on
happened
that.
there.
Greg Wyshynski's going to join us for Metal Supermarkets, your convenience stores for Metal. Jay Woodcroft went there last night, got a piece of metal cut to put over his office door so they can't get in. I want him to full-blown Costanza this thing and say,
Smooth move.
actually, I'm still sneaking in because Corsi and Fenwick is great and is going to turn around at some point.
Yeah.
Right? This is
Have
what
you
happens.
ever been PDO'd?
Yeah. PDO'd to the unemployment line. Unbelievable. Not yet. We'll see what ends up happening today. I think that might be the reason they keep him is because the advanced stats, say that eventually it should come. So we'll see. Kind of easy trivia for Mr. Mike's. We'll go there just after 8 o'clock. 3 questions too many for Park Mazda. Darren DuPont, Dupes, the man behind the Rod Peterson Show, who really sort of got that thing going. I worked with him at Canada West TV. It was me, him, and Dunk.
You guys go way back.
Well, we go way back. And then when I left, Dupes got to move up into the booth, calls the hell out of a game. So Dupes and Dunk will be calling what? The Hardy. Golden Bears, T-Birds. Coolbet actually has Golden Bears as a favorite, but I think that might just be like an Edmonton market play because the Golden Bears have lost to the T-Birds twice and have to go on the road for this game. But you can bet university football over at Coolbet. So Dupe's going to join us around 8:30. That's the local spin for United Sport and Cycle. We'll find out if the Golden Bears can finish the job. Chris Morris, Coach of the Year. Their running back, Matthew Peterson, Player of the Year. Heck, Crichton nominee. So they've got the pieces to get it done.
What the heck? What the heck? What the heck?
All right. Let's just get into it. Let's get into your morning after show here. There's no reason to wait any longer. We've got an overall bigger picture discussion to get to on the Edmonton Oilers as well, but let's get into your morning after show.
Being a fan of the Oilers today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to have your say? It's the morning after show where we will talk about the game and let you know who you should blame. You want a show where you will know if the problems are still the same. You want a show every morning after the game. You want a show so people know if the problems are still the same. You want a show every morning after the game.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into the morning after show brought to you by EM Utility Locating, or as somebody in the Nasty Chat tied it into the Oilers today, or actually is in the inbox, EM Futility Locating.
Yo.
All right, they can get right to the bottom. Matt and the crew can get right to the bottom of what the deal is with the Edmonton Oilers. The morning after show brought to you by EM Utility Locating, GPR and concrete scanning, damage prevention, planning, designing, education, and training. Anything you need help with if you're doing work below the surface, these guys have you. And I do think this ties in nicely to the Oilers because what is wrong below the surface with this group? Morning after show is off and running. The EST, big moment that happened, buddy. What's the big moment that happened last night?
Oh, the Zadina goal. Because when Ryan Nugent-Hopkins scored, you go online, people are like, well, they're sucking us back in.
Yeah, but so that Nuge made it a 3-2 game at the time, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
And I mean, look, so they tied up last night. Like, is that, oh, wow, like this is now they've turned, like this is, what you're seeing is not a one-off now, like, right? And I just, like, this is what you're going to get, and it's going to be up to the players to dig themselves out of it. I don't know if they can, but they're crap. And the Zadina goal putting them up 3-1, I mean, there was no business of them getting back. I know they're putting up the shots again, and we can all see these 40-plus shots each and every night, but
a lot of them aren't really hard shots.
No, and
like they had that
just
one
it.
crazy scramble around the net. in which, they probably would have liked. It was the Draisaitl wraparound that came across. Hyman got stopped by the left pad. There was the scramble there, but let's be honest. It's not like Blackwood had to stand on his head. And, now on the Sportsnet broadcast last night, they had him as the third star.
I made some decent
The game last night had him as the first star. But you cannot use this they got goalied excuse again. That's for sure.
Well, he has to turn them away. I mean, when you get the shot volume, you have to turn them away. And when you make that many saves, you get rewarded for it. But you're right. It's not that. I think you look at the other side of the ice, and it's the same old story again. So I'll go with the Zadina goal just clearly because it was the winner, and the Sharks held on to the 3-2. But, I mean, even buzzing around late, and they've been buzzing around late in some games, but I don't think buzzing around late and trying to tie things up against teams that you should be better than and are perceived to be better than is good enough. So
no. Even if they come back and win that game, somebody.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It'll be like
no.
Phew.
Yeah, no.
But at the same time, it's clearly not good enough.
No,
it's not good enough. I was happy that they weren't rewarded last night by a late push again, and they did that so many times last year where they're like, "Here come the Oilers! Oh my God, look at this!" They didn't deserve that last night. I'm sorry. They just didn't. I'm going to go with the second goal, just a bounce that goes. At that point, you're like, man, this just might not meant to be. Like the first goal, we could spend 3 hours today on the first goal. I'm going to get into it as we work our way through the thing today here. But the second goal, I mean, it bounces off of a leg. That being said, I mean, Kane could have got to where Hurdle was. Hurdle bangs it in, hammers it home. No chance for Stuart Skinner. And at that point, you're like, man, like a bounce like that's ending up right on the tape, right in the slot for a one-timer. Maybe it's just not meant to be. So if you want to play along, 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat as well today. All right, let's get to some post-game here. Let's get to, oh boy, where do we want to go first? We got Nuge, we got Draisaitl, and we have Jay Woodcroft. I thought Nugent Hopkins was the best of these three last night. So let's go to Ryan Nugent Hopkins and hear what old Daddy Nuge had to say after the game last night.
Such a profound loss of confidence for a group of 20 guys at the same time.
Well, I don't think it's a loss of confidence. I think it's we're battling through something together, and we're working our asses off, and it's we're not finding ways to score. And I mean, we're saying the right things. We're trying to get there, trying to make it hard on goalies. It's not going. And then when it seems to be a breakdown, teams are capitalizing, and it's not any individual's fault. But I mean, there's only one way through, and it's going to be together. And and I believe in this group that we can find a way out for sure.
Ryan, as a team, why has it been so challenging to score, do you think?
It's a great question. We talked, I think, early on in the season. We were getting on the outside too much, not getting to the net. Now I think we're getting bodies to the net. Our D-men are putting the puck where we want them to, and we're not able to find those dirty ones around the net. And I mean, we obviously have done it before. We've scored in bunches before, but it's not happening right now. So we got to keep our heads up. But I mean, it's like I said, it's going to take everybody in here to get out of this.
It's difficult to keep your head up right now, collectively, given where you guys are.
Well, I mean, of course, when you go through tough stretches, it's the easy thing would just to quit on each other, and that's not what this group is about. We've been, unfortunately, we've gone through this before in the past, and we found ways out. Different points of the season, obviously, start of the season, it feels a little different. But regardless, we've been through it before, and we can claw our way out of this.
Does this seem to be like a different test compared to times in the past when you guys have struggled?
Yeah, well, I think, like I just said, just because it's start of the season, it feels a little different. But we're the same team that we've always been, and I mean, like I said, it's just it feels weird right now. We push, and if we don't get a couple, it's just little things here and there, and no individual. It's just, they're just finding ways to other teams are finding ways to put them in, and we're not. And it's, like I said, it's easy to be easy. The easy thing to do right now is quit on each other, but that's not what this group is.
Is it more frustrating that this team just won one game before tonight? Did you think about that when you came into the game, or did you just look at this as an opponent that could beat us on any day?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's the NHL. Every team has a chance to win every night, but and I do think, especially because they had a rough start, and then they just get a win in a 2-1 game against a pretty good team. It gives you a little life, and it gives you the confidence to be able to shut things down. And we expected that. We definitely came in with the right attitude that they're not just going to roll over either. And obviously, we put as much pressure as we could, and we couldn't find a way to get done.
All right, there you go. That is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Couple of things there from the Nuge. Like, the Nuge still talks about them as a group, trying to work through this together. Said he didn't think it was a confidence issue. Said that he thought they were getting to the net a little bit more. Love the Nuge. Not sure I agree with them actually getting to the net much more. I mean, unless they didn't get to the net at all at the beginning of the year. I don't think all of a sudden we're coming out of games and listening to Cass and Tommy on the postgame show last night and being like, wow, they were all around it. They were all around the net. Oh, my goodness. They weren't. They weren't all around the net. So that was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. You can chime in. Pat Maroon's Bib says, Nuge is inches away from going full dad here and rolling out a, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. Leon Draisaitl. Let's get to what Leon Draisaitl had to say after the game last night. I'm going to have a few things I want to say about Leon Draisaitl coming after this, but let's see what he had to say here.
This appears to be the worst one. Can you just tell us how hard this one hits, Leon?
Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I mean, we tend to, outshoot other teams consistently, probably outchance other teams consistently, but it's just not in sync right now. Feels like so. Yeah, it's disappointing.
Your power play was the best power play in the history of the game last year, and it looks like you just can't get any chemistry on that thing. What do you think? Where can it go?
Well, it can only go up. When you're gripping the stick a little too tight, in general, that tends to happen. And last year everything seemed to be going our way. This year it's obviously not going our way. So I just continue to work at it.
What's been the challenge for you personally right now in the last little while? From a personal perspective, what have you felt kind of the challenge? The puck's obviously not going in for you. What's maybe been the issue there, do you think?
It's just the way it goes sometimes. It's a tough league. Guys play your heart. Obviously, not too many guys in this room that have confidence right now. So, I'm part of that group. So, just keep trying to get better every day. And
is that just it, where it's like it doesn't feel like anyone's going right now? Have you ever experienced something like this, where some guys slump obviously, but it just feels like no one's going right now?
Yep, great observation.
Can you just, you're a 50-goal guy several years now. It just seems so crazy for you to lose your confidence. You score for fun sometimes. How can a guy that's as good at scoring as you just stops, lose your confidence at scoring, I guess?
Yeah, it just happens, I've had weeks before, where it didn't go my way, This one seems a little more drastic because it's early on in the year. But I've had stretches like this before. Every player in the league has had stretches like this before. So I'm not overly worried. The goals will come, and if they don't, then you got to continue to find different ways to score.
As a team, what's the biggest thing you feel that needs to change?
I don't know. We say the right words. We go into every game with the same mindset. I think outchance and outshoot a lot of teams, and it seems like we're not deserving of bounces right now, and you can't rely on bounces. I'm aware of that, but just not scoring enough and obviously giving up too much.
32nd place after tonight, last in the league. Can you believe it?
It's the reality, so yeah.
All right, there we go. That is Leon Draisaitl. He was right about one thing. They are deserving bounces right now. Leon Draisaitl last night, and I tweeted out the video of the first goal against, and it's just not good enough. Go watch the shift. His body language sucks on it. He only skated when there was a chance to get the puck out of the zone offensively and go on a rush. And I know Louis was putting a lot of that goal right away on Holloway, because Holloway was thinking, I'm going to take the pass to the point because that's usually his job, but he kind of left the guy in the middle. I think he probably thought because somebody was going to skate hard out of the corner to pick the guy up who's wide open in front of the net, but it didn't happen. Leon, that was a shift where Jay Woodcroft could have sat Leon Draisaitl down and said, hey, dude, you're going to watch for a few shifts until you move your legs in the defensive zone. Go watch it. It's a pathetic shift in the National Hockey League. There's that shift that goes around, the no-effort shift from Pierre-Luc Dubois in Columbus, where he came out and literally did nothing. This one's worse because Draisaitl literally did nothing, and it led to a goal on a guy who's wide open in front of the net. Just go watch the goal. I mean, you guys all watched it 1,000 times last night. He's straight-legged in the defensive zone, not taking a stride at all. Puck bounces out, all of a sudden takes off. Then whoever had it in the neutral zone, was it McLeod? Somebody had it in the neutral zone. It gets, maybe Holloway. It gets bobbled, and you can see, the controller dies. Draisaitl standing straight up, shoulders shrug.
How many times have we said that this season?
And it's just, and then he turns around, 2 crossovers to get back into the defensive zone, does not take a stride again until the puck is in the back of the net for a guy that he probably should have had. So there's accountability level there where if you're Jay Woodcroft, you go, hey man, you got to sit down here. Instead, what happens? He puts him back with Connor McDavid midway through the game. And at that point, it looks like Leon has a little bit more jump. And that's a major concern. If you're going to sit there and not try defensively, you should not get to go back and play with Connor McDavid. I don't care if you're down 1,000 goals. And then the other part of it, so I tweet that video out, and there'd be some people replying and being like, well, Dusty, Draisaitl does a lot of good things. You can't single him out like this. That's the issue. The issue is that I try to point out that Leon Draisaitl, if any other player made that play, he'd be absolutely getting torched across the city. So I point out that it's Leon Draisaitl, and I got fans sliding in my DMs being like, man, you can't say that about Draisaitl. That's the issue. All these guys should be held accountable in the exact same bloody way, but they're not. You had McDavid and Draisaitl together for the majority of the season. It wasn't working. You're losing to the San Jose Sharks. What's the plan? Oh, let's put those 2 guys back together, even though Draisaitl probably shouldn't have been on the bloody ice. So, it all starts there. And I'll say this. I'm not even sure Jay Woodcroft is allowed to hold those guys accountable. I wouldn't even be surprised if within the organization there's hey, man, Connor and Leon can't bench those guys. I wouldn't even be surprised if that's coming from up here. And Jay Woodcroft's just well, I guess we'll just put them back together again. I'm sorry. That play by Leon Draisaitl was pathetic, and it summarized the entire Oilers season. And when he's asked in postgame, well, what do you have to do better? Well, I don't know. Well, why don't you move your legs and pick up the guy in front of the net? It blows my mind. It blows my mind. So Jay Woodcroft may lose his job. He may not. I still think with this new analytical mindset in the organization, they're going to look at it and just go, we're out shooting teams. We're out chancing teams. It's going to come. I feel, but I don't know. Maybe he gets fired today. If he does get fired today, Ken Holland's got to go too. Ken Holland serves no purpose here anymore. All he's done is put them in a horrible cap situation. It's probably time to let him go. Do you have any? I'm sorry, I'm just sounding on full-blown rant
I
here.
spoke of preventative measures as well, and that would be my might look at Holland now too is that we've been down this path before in trying this Hail Mary something deal that really doesn't do anything for anybody, not in the present or in the future. So I would take the keys away, today. And whether or not Woodcroft, look, if he gets fired or not, I mean, this is a team that last season, Dusty rifled off how many straight wins to end the year? Like, let this group figure it out. That's the only way it's going to have to be done. I don't know whether you make a trade. You go to goaltender packages were flying in left, right, and center last night, and who would you package up and send away for Saros or this or that?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because if you can't play out the proper defense structure, you keep making mistakes, or the top guys keep not scoring, or you still have depth issues, and you can go on and on and on. But they're just going to have to figure it out themselves. And as you mentioned, though, if it's not Woody today or tomorrow, I would kind of take those keys away from Ken Holland because you don't need to be going down any sort of paths.
Anything Ken Holland would do now would have to be approved by Jeff Jackson anyway.
Right.
So he's a puppet now. So what's the point? Like, I could honestly see them coming out today and being like, well, Jay Woodcroft's been fired and Ken Holland's going to write out his contract as an advisor as opposed to a GM title, which cool, man. Here's the Titanic.
Like
move these chairs around and see how it goes. Like, so Nurse had the brutal play along the boards that led to the third goal. Nuge had some penalties that should not have taken. Draisaitl had that one shift that was pathetic. And Connor McDavid was a turnover machine last night. And for everybody, like I'll see so many people be like, well, he's lost the room. Woodcroft's lost the room. How do you lose a room? First of all, losing a room, nobody cares if he lost Derek Ryan. Nobody cares if he lost Dylan Holloway. Losing the room is losing Draisaitl and McDavid and Nuge and Nurse. Okay, that's what it is. It's not losing the room. If he's lost anything, maybe it's the leadership group because those guys just don't look like they give a damn right now. But how does that happen in 12 games? Like, how can you lose a room? I'll ask this of Mike Johnson. How can you lose a room in 12 games when you were a legit contender each of the last 2 years? Like, how does it – like, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter just being like, well, they've just given up on the coach. How have you given up on the coach in 12 games? That's what I don't get. You pretty much were the stiffest test for the Stanley Cup champions last year. And you're 12 games into this season and you've given up on the coach? I don't understand. That's a group of players issue, man. That's not a coach's issue. Speaking of the coach, should we get to Jay Woodcroft?
I was going to say once Campbell finds his game down in.
Well, I mean, Jack Campbell. Let's get to Woody. Here's what Woody had to say.
Defensively, was better defensively tonight. Did you just feel like you needed a break offensively to push that to overtime?
Well, we gave up 16 shots again. We've done that a few times this year. I think we had 92 shot attempts. We were unable to find an answer, but we chased the game, and there were some, I think costly errors that led to goals against. Disappointing.
This game seems like one that has played out several times this year. How frustrating is that?
Not fun not to win that game, and then, as you said, it's happened a couple times, but I think, you got to take the good parts out of that game and bring it forward, and while at the same time you got to limit some of the costly errors that ended up in our net.
What do you think of your power play right now? It doesn't seem to be.
I think, our power play is usually indicative of our entire offensive game. And right now we have some shooters that aren't shooting at their typical rate. It hasn't been anywhere near of what we're capable of. It hasn't been awful. It's created looks and had chances, but just like our 5-on-5, it hasn't converted when we needed it. And I thought, I was confident in it heading into that last power play at the end of the game. We couldn't find it tonight.
You lose a one-goal game, and I think your was over 4 on the power play. That's, not typical of your team.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I didn't love our first 2 power plays in the first period. I didn't think we were sharp. I thought in the third period we had looks. There was some good chances there. I thought, there was one off the net to Hyman that is normally converted. But disappointing to go 0 for 4 in a game where you're short by 1 goal.
The first goal of the game, there's a shark in your low slot with nobody on him.
Yeah,
I
would bring that back even farther, though, Spec. I would say it started with a pass that is a fundamental pass that could have and should have been made and handled. It got turned back in the neutral zone, got dumped back in on us. There was a goalie handle that we'd like to have back. And then all of a sudden you find yourself breathing through your eyelids and having to defend. In that defending, obviously when the puck is outside the trapezoid or close to the trapezoid, you want to make sure that you're packed in tight. We weren't. But and that's certainly an error, but I would bring it even farther back to those two instances, probably about 20 and 30 seconds before that.
Did you think you were coming into an environment where the team had a newfound confidence after they got their first win?
You know what? Where we've been with our group, we've spent most of our time focusing on us. Obviously the other team played hard. Their goalie was very good tonight, and they were opportunistic when the scoring chances presented themselves. Credit to them.
You fathom where you're at right now in the standings?
I don't look at it like that. I look at it as, we have to do a much better job of securing 2 points. I think we've had moments, but we can be better for a full 60 minutes. I thought we did a lot of good things. I didn't think anyone grew impatient, but in the end, some costly mistakes ended up in the back of our net. And right now, when you're not outscoring mistakes, you have to find a way to limit them.
It's a lousy question, but I got to ask it. You got a Stanley Cup contender that's in 32nd place here. Are you worried about your job?
No, I worry about taking care of my daily business and my daily process and making sure that I give my players something to focus on and concentrate on. No one's happy with where we're at. We all own it. We can be better, and that's where my focus is.
All right, there you go. That is Jay Woodcroft. Anything you take away from
through
that?
his eyelids.
Breathing through his eyelids is quite the line.
As it were.
It was interesting on that one goal. He points out, when I went back and watched the thing, the goal where they left the guy wide open in front, the first goal, that I went back and watched that thing a few times. And I didn't notice it like the first time you watch it, but it was the play that he mentioned. I think there was a couple of them. It first started, Nurse just misses the winger up the boards. Like, there's a guy flying up the boards. Nurse's pass misses him. That eventually brings it back down in. They get it out again, but then it comes back in, and that's where it ends up in the back of the net. So he kind of brought that up. Jeff is in and says, can't figure out why you're defending Woody the way you are, Dusty. Do you honestly believe that there's a standing order that 97 and 29 can't be benched? Come on. Woody doesn't have the backbone to bench Draisaitl. He doesn't even have the balls to bench Bouchard. That's who he is. Not saying he's a problem, but why is he getting a pass when every other coach in the past decade have just been easy fires? Did anybody hold 97 and 29 accountable? Did other coaches do it? If the answer is no, then there's one common theme here, is that none of these guys have had the balls to hold either of those guys accountable. So, I'd also defend Jay Woodcroft because he has a .640 winning percentage and hasn't even coached 2 full seasons with the team, and you're just going to turn out another coach? What do you expect to happen? Let's see. New coach comes in, you get a bump, team refuses to commit and play properly defensively, and they're eliminated in the playoffs if they get there. Same old thing. And then at the end of next season, we're sitting here going, I don't know if this guy's the guy. I don't know if this guy's the coach. Sometimes you have to look at the group of players, and even last night on the goal, the first one, I saw somebody like, this is on Woody and his system. You think Jay Woodcroft's system is for Leon Draisaitl to not skate in the defensive zone? You think they go in practice and go, okay, here's the plan. You coast around and leave that guy open. You think that's the system? If that's the system, then they should fire him. If you go watch practice, and all the guys in the media who are down there watching practice would probably be able to tell you that in practice, they don't practice Leon Draisaitl allowing a guy to be wide open in front, or Holloway possibly getting him and then trying to cover the point because the passes. At least Holloway was trying to do something. So you can't tell me that is definitely on the system there. No, that's just a player not trying hard enough. And if you're going to fire a coach because some of the players aren't trying hard enough, then it's just rinse and repeat. It's rinse and repeat, man. And you're not going to get anywhere with that. You're just not. In any business, if you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's not just hockey, any sport, anything. It's the exact same thing. 780-218-9999. We still have to get to the rest of the postgame show here. Morning after show continues for EM Utility Locating. Well, we've got lots to get to. Super Saturday of the
How
night.
did you like the Ryan McLeod showcase? Was that you see enough in that showcase for you? Or?
We can't. We don't have time for me to get into Ryan McLeod right now. Like, we just like. Let's just get to the super stat of the night,
Super
and then
stat
we'll
of the night.
keep cruising along.
Okay,
here.
well, 41 shots on goal to the San Jose Sharks 18. That's quite a shot differential right there. Hey,
San Jose also had 35 blocks last night. I mean, the super stat of the night is San Jose's penalty kill. 4 for 4 last night. The Oilers' power play. Like, how many times can you continue to try to pass the puck through the slot, even when the other team has closed the slot off? Like, there was one point last night where I think all 4 Sharks had their stick in the lane, or 3 sticks were in the lane, and a player was in the lane. And McDavid still tried to feather one through to Leon Draisaitl. It's like that's not going to work this time. It's not there. So you expected goaltending issues. You just did. That's what this is. And I'm talking this season. You expected goaltending issues. You expected defensive blunders because that's what the team is. You did not expect their offense to dry up the way it has.
it was the only saving grace.
That was the only thing.
The saving grace, yeah. So
where has that gone? And it's not like they're rolling out these games where they get like 23 shots. Like, they have the puck. They're just not working hard enough to put it into the bloody net, which I think is kind of the reason. Is your heart rate up? Is that what that was? I heard a heart rate beep. Does that thing monitor my heart rate? It's like, tell Dusty to chill for a bit. Maybe.
What a time.
I don't understand. Like, this sounds ridiculous to ask because they look like the worst team in the league, but are they just snake bitten? Like, do the floodgates open here at some point and they average 5 goals per game for 9 games and
they got
get
goalied
back
in
on
a
track?
trap game. Simple as that.
The old goaling in a trap game.
Huh? 2 for
You're
2.
really trying to kill me today, aren't you? 3 stars last night in the rink. Blackwood, Hurdle, and Zetterlund. Who's the 4th star of the game?
I'm trying. I'm not even gonna try. Let's go with Zadina. Got my big moment. What turned out to be the winner.
Yeah,
of the third
Zadina's
goal,
to
sure.
have something to prove in the National Hockey League. Hey, Zadina, like...
yeah, isn't he a Holland? Isn't there a relationship there, too?
Would that have been a Holland draft?
Crossover in time or something?
Probably right. 38th star of the game last night.
Take your pick.
Yeah. I mean... I don't even know where to go. I've already gone off on Draisaitl and the horrible shift that he had. I know Skinner had an .833 save percentage last night, but he made a lot of really good saves for him, and I don't blame him for any of the goals. So what are you supposed to do in that situation? 38th star of the game. I don't know. I got to go back to Leon with that. I mean, your team's trying to get out of a slump against the worst team in the National Hockey League, and you put out the shift that you did that allows San Jose to get on top 1-0, man. It's just not good enough. Steady Eddie of the evening. This is becoming really tough. EM Utility Locating, what have you done to us? The Steady Eddie of the evening is always a little bit of a tough one. You know what I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with Sam Gagner last night. 12 minutes, +1, works hard, didn't put himself into any tough spots. Let's go with Sam Gagner as your Steady Eddie of the evening. Yeah. Well done, Sam.
Still
well
calling
done.
it the Steady Sam of the evening, pretty much. If he keeps this up. If they keep this up.
Joe Cool is in and says, I only stayed up late to see how many people were in the nasty chat last night. And, there was a lot. That post-game show, people were fired up. Ended up hitting over 1,100 at one point last night. That's how angry people were, or confused even. It's almost like...
Cal in the park would like to know if you'd like a nice shot of some cream. to calm you down.
No.
We all got beer of the week today. Would you like a cream? A thimble of cream?
No, I don't think so.
Wayne cream to...
There's what? There's 2 Hoots?
Oh,
I'll take a glass of 2 Hoots.
2 Hoots?
Yeah.
Should we get the
Let's
bladder
open
in
up
here?
that bladder of 2 Hoots.
Yeah?
It's like a breakfast iced tea, right? I'll take that. Yeah. I'll have a glass of 2 Hoots. Yeah, let's get some 2 Hoots up in here today. Penner's Pancakes was keeping track last night. It says 11:37 EST record last night. That was nice to see. Bruce is into the nasty chat or into the Paris Jewelers inbox today. 780-218-9999. I'm the 38th star for watching the entire game. For those that, oh man, Lucas. Lucas in the nasty chat. Guys, how long until Sam Gagner asks for a trade? Man, Lucas, you got to text that in. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. You could possibly get in the mix for text of the day. It might not sound like it this morning, but I still believe that they're a playoff team. And I know they've got a lot to sort out to get there. And maybe it's like, oh, look at a coaching change, and they get it back. Maybe they just start burying some of these chances.
But David gets healthy.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you get healthier by playing.
You play your way out of the injury.
That's tough. Nobody's ever been like, you know what? One way for you to get better to 100% is to keep playing on it. I don't know if that's going to work. Do we have cups for this 2 Hoots? Hey, where'd you find the red Solos? We've been looking for these for like 4 days.
Oh, it was funny, yeah.
I put them in the storage cabinet that we have with plates and napkins that we had from our client mixer.
So this is a box with a bag of 2 Hoots hard iced tea in it. Cheers, buddy. Yeah. This stuff is delicious.
It's
Oh, you want one, Manny? I didn't know you want one.
bladder.
Let's get Mr. Lena 2 Hoots here.
He deserves it.
All right? Because all of you fans give 2 hoots about what the Oilers are doing. I'm going to top you right up there, Matty.
There you go.
There you go. Enjoy that, buddy. Enjoy that. This stuff's delicious. Mark is in and says, we can't keep firing coaches. Well, and that's, I mean, think about this. You bring him in, partway through 2 seasons ago. Takes you to Colorado, loses to the team that went on to win the Stanley Cup. Has an excellent year last year on the strength of a huge finish to the season. I get it. Ends up winning a really tough series against Los Angeles. And then they lose to a team that goes on to win the Stanley Cup. And you're going to fire that guy less than 2 years in? Who's actually, Maddie's shaking his head. He would. You would. Hey,
yes,
that's it. It's
yes.
done. It's done.
Unless you're okay with this season being nothing, there's one move left to impact this season for this season, and it's firing the coach. And that includes, to me, Ken Holland.
Well, Ken Holland has to go if Woodcroft goes.
It's a multiple thing here. It's Dave Manson goes, Dustin Schwartz goes, Glenn Gullickson's the only guy that might survive this for me yet again. But, yeah, okay, Gerard Gallant lasted 3 seasons or whatever with the Golden Knights. He won a Jack Adams Award. Has a winning record with them. They fire him. They bring in Pete DeBoers, who does really well, but then ultimately he does miss the playoffs. They fire him. They bring in Bruce Cassidy, ultimately win the Stanley Cup. The team that just won the Cup last year hasn't had that many seasons themselves, and they have not been afraid to make that move when they need to make that move to turn the thing around, and it got them the Stanley Cup last year. You're not going to be able to find that trade right now that is going to ultimately turn this around. So, yeah, you could go with it and say, yeah, this team's going to make the playoffs, keep going at it. But you want to know something? Through this portion of the season, there's a good chance they don't make the playoffs now. There's a good chance.
It's a very good chance.
There's a good chance they don't turn this around. They put up a 5-game heater, put up 5 straight wins, and get 10 points. Now, unless, obviously everyone else gets their points, that still only puts them middle of the pack. And that's a 5-game winning streak with no one else gaining points, basically. Like, there's a huge hill to climb. But if you want to get them going, because Jay doesn't clearly have it's not working with him.
If they fire Jay Woodcroft, McDavid and Draisaitl are coach killers. I'm sorry.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they are.
But
how can you not, like...
But quite frankly, to a degree, don't care if it ultimately turns this season around. If it doesn't, then yeah, it's a really big issue. But
to me, if they do that, the only way out of this is to win a Stanley Cup. You know, like if they go through the coaching change, because what? They had a really good season last year with Jay Woodcroft, and they already gave up on him? Like, to me, you have to win it all, or else, you know what? If you don't win it all, this time next year, people are going to be saying, man, I don't know if Gallant's the guy. Draisaitl's not skating hard in his own end. Like, no, it's the same thing over and over.
I think if they meet the expectation of this season, which I think for a lot of people, like myself included, would be like you have to get to the conference final minimum this year and be very competitive. You can't get swept. If they get to a conference final this year, if you make a coaching change or a Stanley Cup, I think people, okay, that coaching change worked.
I hate to break it to you, buddy, but this team is not going to a conference final. I don't care if they bring back prime Scotty Bowman. It's not happening.
Sure, then at that point, then I would say, yeah, you don't change the coach, but you're going to have this season just become this all year.
No, they'll be better than this.
What makes you so confident?
Because pucks are going to go in. Like,
are they?
They have to. Right? What's the low tide word? Yeah, it has to get to the mean.
We said that before.
There has to be a mean.
But we said that before last night's game, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's not turning.
You want to know something? We've seen seasons before where that team doesn't get it all year. They return to the mean the next season. Yeah, this team might be able to do it next season. This season, it's not working. And to rely on luck to turn this team around, to rely on the bounces going your way, is very dangerous if you have the expectations of a Stanley Cup. This is not fully on Jay Woodcroft. There's a lot of other people that deserve blame, and there was a lot of other moves that should be made to turn this team around. The problem is those can't be made easily at this very moment. And also, you can't trust the people doing it at this very moment. So the one thing you can do, that through the history of sports, not just hockey, but sports, that can turn a team around, it is that coaching change. So make it happen. You lost to the San Jose Sharks. And it wasn't.
I think this group is who it is. And when they are not scoring, they're not capable of anything. Like, that's what we're seeing here. The Edmonton Oilers have the second worst goal differential in the National Hockey League, I think, as of this morning, at least in the conference. I mean, the Sharks are, like, when they can't score, it doesn't matter. Like, what'll happen here is they'll make a coaching change. They'll start to finish these same chances that they're getting right now, and everybody's gonna be like, "It's fixed. They're back, baby." You'll miss the point of the fact that they still don't commit defensively.
Well, I just want one thing in the nasty chat. Mark saying, firing Jay, you might as well say goodbye to both Connor and Leon. Missing the playoffs, you might as well say goodbye to Connor and Leon potentially, too.
But those
that's
guys
the issue,
those
too.
guys are responsible
100%,
for it.
and that's why I don't care.
Yeah.
If I'm Daryl Cates, I'm sitting there going, I want a coaching change today. And there's a solid coach for a short period of time who I know in 2 years we're going to have a conversation about him being fired. And you love Gerard
Gallant, eh?
Gallant, because
How are we not talking about Filthy Bruce saving the day?
Because...
Hank, would that not be incredible? He's the hero of this show.
Have both.
It'd be incredible.
2 coach bumps.
That would be amazing.
Gerard Gallant with Bruce Boudreau as co-coaches.
Bruce is the only guy who handles media. That would be incredible.
You bring in Bruce now, you fire him midway through the season, and you hire Gerard to get you over the bump. Then you get 2 new coach bumps in one season.
Boudreau takes you up to the deadline. You fire Boudreau at the deadline, and Gerard Gallant comes in and takes
bump after bump after bump.
2 years in Florida before he gets fired. 91 points, 103 points. 2 years with Vegas, 109, 93 points. And then he has 54 points through 49 games, gets fired. The Golden Knights at that time were kind of on the playoff bubble. I think they were in the playoffs when they fired him. With the Rangers, 110 points and 107 points. The guy doesn't last long. And I know that. I know that we'll be talking about him being fired in a couple of years.
This is your shot to win it all this year.
But this is the shot at winning this year and next year with him. That's what he has proven to go do.
Would he be allowed to hold 97 and 29 accountable?
That's the question.
That should be like written into the contract. Because the last 3 guys haven't been able to do that. So, I say they haven't been able to because nobody has. And the reason you wouldn't is because you were not allowed. Like, because you can't piss them off. Connor and Leon.
Well, you're running them out of town.
Yeah, like
That's
those
what I've
guys
been
need. Those guys
told.
need to be better.
I don't think Boudreaux cares. Or not Boudreaux, Gallant cares.
No, but you're right.
I think
Boudreaux doesn't.
I think he'd come in, he'd make those moves, and that's why he loses the locker room so quickly, though, is because he comes in and does that. Players respond to the start, but then they get tired of his antics, and then he goes. But I'm okay with him going in 2 years from now if he turns this season around this year and does well next year.
I think if we let's just pretend it's not the group of players not understanding covering open players in front. I almost think it would be better for the group and enhance their chances of winning more this season to force them to get through this. And then sneak in and say you've been through like the worst adversity you could ever go through, but we made it in, and now it's time.
And everybody likes the Oilers as an 8 seed, right? That's what the city you want them coming in.
I
as
think
that.
there's a case for that.
Then is everyone okay with the idea? Well, not like okay in a different term, but knowing that with that plan, there's a really good chance they don't actually make the playoffs still too, because
Even
they don't
with a
turn
different
this around.
coach, there's a good chance they don't make the playoffs too.
Right,
Like,
but you hope. But historically, you see that coach bump
With a group
in sports,
like this.
in hockey. You see that bump when you just keep trying the same thing over and over. Definition insanity type thing.
What do you think? This one is in, of course, from head coach Mike Sullivan guy in the Paris Jewelers inbox. We didn't play hard enough, Sullivan said, and we didn't play smart enough. We got what we deserved. All right. Your thoughts on all of it. We got to get to a sports rewind. Then Mike Johnson's coming up. The fun continues. I'm going to dish out a conch for all of you. Thank you for popping by and making the AM Nasty your home the morning after a game. We appreciate it. All right, Sports Rewind with Lieutenant Eric. Mike Johnson on the other side of this bad boy as we try to figure out what to do with this absolute tire fire.
Oilers dropping another one to the league where Sharks 3-2 your final down in San Jose. Darnell Nurse and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with the Oiler goals. The club now have lost 4th straight and will cap their 3-game road trip tomorrow night in Seattle. Elsewhere last night, Penguins topping the Kings in overtime 4-3. Make it 5 straight wins for the Canucks. Vancouver over Ottawa 5-2. Kyle Connor with the hat trick. Jets win their 3rd in a row 6-3 over the Preds, and the Kraken defeating the Avalanche by a score of 4-3. Week 10 in the National Football League kicking off last night. It was the Chicago Bears improving to 3-7 with a 16-13 win over the Panthers. NBA action saw the Hawks of the Magic 120-119 for Mexico City, while Giannis had 54 as the Bucks would fall to the Pacers 126-124. Group stage action from the NBA in-season tournament continues tonight with 9 games on the schedule. Edmonton Oil Kings back in action tonight. They'll kick off a home-and-home weekend series with the Hitmen tonight down in Calgary and return home to host Calgary tomorrow night from Rogers Place. Sports update for Universal Rewind. If your motor is performing like the Oilers, it might be time for a rewind. If only we could rewind the Oilers season. Universal Rewind.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
.704 on the Nielson Show. Thank you very much for joining us here this morning. Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric with you. Just starting out, should be an excellent day of sports talk here at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You can listen on TuneIn. You can listen at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. And, of course, you can watch live with us right now on YouTube. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. That is the Paris Jewelers inbox. That thing is taking a good old-fashioned pounding so far this morning. This one is in. It says, guys, we've had a Hall of Fame coach, 2 Jack Adams winners, a player's coach, a hard-ass coach, a rookie coach, established successful coach. It seems like we tried every version of coach possible.
No, player coach.
I
think the player coach now.
You got to get it. Well, let's just continue with the conversation here. Mike Johnson's brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned fan gear and fan case specialist located on St. Albert Trail, 1 block north of the Yellowhead, or online at proamsports.ca. Like you, They're frustrated too. Mike, the entire city is frustrated, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, boy. Better than the
Yeah.
Oilers.
Yeah.
Than the Oilers. I'm not going to lie to you, Dusty. The car crash NASCAR lover in me stayed up till 1 a.m. Eastern time to watch that game last night. And
You're one
I
sick
wasn't
puppy.
sure what I wanted.
Yeah.
It's totally sick. And I'm like, is it better that the Oilers win like 10-0 and San Jose just gets reinforced as one of the worst teams ever? Or is it better that Edmonton has struggles a little bit and maybe loses that game? And unfortunately, it went the other way. Edmonton struggled. And so there's a few different elements to that game last night. One is you were hoping that it would be McDavid and Draisaitl running roughshod.
Yeah.
Right? Like they would be so much better than the opposition because the opposition is not very good. And amazingly, that didn't happen. Like that, and it hasn't happened the way that it has in years past. I think that was maybe surprise number one. Surprise number two was, yes, they were the better team. They had more shots, whatever. But it wasn't like a completely lopsided, ridiculously dominant, one team is so much better than the other kind of performance. It was just a sort of a relatively evenish kind of game, which again, sort of stunning given the circumstances and the participants. So I don't like the Oilers players must know. I've been on teams twice that have had a coaching change middle of the season, and your spidey senses get going. Like you kind of know what's happening, what's at stake, and what's going on, and they must know that they're at that moment. And you either kind of rally and stuff it down, like you stop it, or it sort of percolates until something happens. And that looked like a kind of percolate until something happens sort of game, which is not good.
Well, it's funny because you'll see a lot of people last night being like online and stuff. Jay Woodcroft's lost the room. He's lost the room. And I said on the show this morning, it doesn't matter if Jay Woodcroft's lost Derek Ryan or Dylan Holloway. When somebody loses the room, they lose the leadership core, right? And I like, how do you do that in 12 games? Like
Why would that happen?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I don't get. In a month.
Guy had 155 points last year. Like,
Yeah.
why would he not be fully invested in whatever this coach is doing? They got to the third. Like, they did well last year in the playoffs.
They've lost to the last two Stanley Cup champions with Jay Woodcroft as coach. I don't know how you lose a room in 12 games, man. That excuse doesn't make sense to me.
No, it's not at all. And like they forgot Jay Woodcroft when they won 2-1 when Ekholm arrived.
Yeah.
Did he forget how to coach the system that allowed them to do that? No, listen, coaches matter, and sometimes the reality is it's easier to change a coach than it is to change players because it's just the way the sports world works in the NHL. But he didn't forget how to coach. He didn't forget system play. He can't stop pucks for them. That is part of it. But that's what everyone's like, he lost the room. I don't think so. More so, change a coach. Then just ran down all the coaches they had.
Yeah.
And like, first, who are you going to get? Like, that's always like, are you going to get someone different, better, more effective, or just different? Because just different is not going to last long. And the other part of it is what coach makes this team work? Because it looked for a long time like Jay Woodcroft was the coach that made this team work. So it's not so easy as they're struggling, so fire the coach.
Does that, and a few players, of course, interviewed post-game last night, Mike, and some talking about confidence being an issue, others saying maybe it's not that much of an issue. Would a coaching change as well, just X's and O's aside, does confidence start with the players? Can a new coach, we all know a new coach bump and all that, but is the confidence going to have to be found out from within and the players in the leadership group? You've been here, I don't know how many rock bottoms you've been in, but it feels like we've already hit 4 or 5 this young season. Yeah. Where do you get that confidence from if it is lacking? And could it be remedied by bringing in a new coach? Systems aside and everything, and what a new coach bump provides, or is it just the players, they're going to have to find it eventually somewhere, somehow along the way?
So the way a new coach can impact confidence is that it allows players who are struggling with their confidence or struggle the way they play to mentally, right or wrong, sort of cast aside the poor play that got them there. It allows them to park the bad start, and it feels fresh, like a fresh start for everyone's season. So if I've not played well, I can't score, I can't get anything done, I get a new coach, it feels like I'm starting fresh. The whole month and a half where I didn't play well, that's sort of gone. It's out the window. That doesn't count anymore. And that's where confidence can be immediately impacted by a new coach. Now, if you don't play well with the new coach, you're going to be right back where you were. But that's where the new coach bump comes from. A little energy, sort of forget the bad stuff that's happened before and kind of start fresh. And maybe that would help them in the short term. Question is, does that help them long term? Does that turn them into a Stanley Cup contender? That's a harder one to answer because I'm not, I don't know whatever coaches are out there. If it's somebody within, if it's Gerard Gallant, if it's who knows, they try to see Joel Quenneville reinstated. Like I don't know where they go to get a coach for this team that would be demonstratively better than Jay Woodcroft.
The selfish part of our show, because we've got a great bit with him, would be filthy Bruce Boudreau. If Bruce Boudreau somehow rolled in here, that would be great for our show, man.
Yes.
I just don't see that.
And I love Brucey. I work with him at NHL Network. He is an amazing man and undeniably very successful. Is his coaching style the one you're going to bring in to tighten things up? Lock it in defensively?
Maybe it gets them going offensively because, like, when you look at this team right now, we expected the goaltenders to be average at best. We have now, I think, just accepted that the team has glaring holes defensively as a group inside the zone.
Just accept it.
Yeah, but usually they can score goals and get out of this. Like last year, they scored 4 goals in the third period, come back and beat the San Jose Sharks. So, like, it's just, I asked it earlier today after I finished ripping them for like 30 minutes. Like, are they just snake bitten, or where has this offense gone? Because it doesn't make any sense. Even their power play looks disjointed.
Yeah. So they are better than, like, they should have scored more than they have. Like, they've produced enough. Like, you look at some of their underlying numbers, and they are much stronger than their record would indicate. Now, that rings wildly hollow for anyone who's watching the standings. Like, I don't care about the process and the expected goals and the shot share. I care about the actual goals and all the losses. But they haven't been quite as bad. I guess my first question would be, and I don't have the answer, is Connor McDavid healthy? I mean, he
can't be, Mike. Like, he can't be. He can't be.
I mean, the only reasonable explanation is he looks like he's not quite right. And I mean, I guess you have to admire him playing through whatever he's going through, wanting to try to lead his team out of it. But if he's not able to do the things that he usually does, I mean, that's so much of that team and their offense, and everyone else from Nugent Hopkins to Kane to Hyman, they all feast on McDavid and in large part Draisaitl's greatness. So that's the first thing. Because if he's not healthy, the new coach is not helping him get better until he gets healthy. Draisaitl, there are moments where Leon feels less engaged than you'd like to see him.
First goal last night was an example of that.
We'd like a skate off the ice every 15 seconds. The cruise control is not ideal. Now, listen, Leon, again, it's tough to pick on Leon and Connor in any way, shape, or form. But there are moments that those guys have to be better. And I can't even believe I'm going to say this. If they're not scoring, like, they got to be better defensively. Like, it's one thing, like, look at Wayne Gretzky in the 80s. Like, I'll make a bad play, but I got to make 17 good ones, and we're going to score more. If you're not getting that for whatever reason, confidence, line mates, injuries, systems, then you have to adjust and realize, okay, listen, our margins are different. We're now a 4-3-3-2 team. We're not a 5-4 team. We're not a 6-3, so, and we got to play accordingly. And everyone on that team, the top players, is good enough to be more diligent defensively. That's kind of part of the issue, but it just feels like that team right now has so little confidence that something's good's going to happen for them. They just look like they're kind of playing games hoping and not sort of believing that it's going to work out.
You mentioned in there, like, some of the analytics with this group and the chances that they're creating are pretty good. Do you think that could end up being the saving grace here for Jay Woodcroft? Because Jeff Jackson has come in, and people say that he's very much got this analytical mind. They brought in Parkati to handle it. Like, I feel like those guys, if they believe in what we think they believe in, they'd be looking at going, well, these chances are going to start going in. This is not. Like, do you think that saves them? Could that be a thing that saves them?
Well, when you're looking at making a change, yeah, like, I think you have to look at everything, and whatever you do, your internal numbers or the public numbers, but, like, you look at natural stat trick. And I know people will hate this kind of thing, but they're first in the league in expected goals. First percentage. Now, at 5-on-5. Like, that's insane for the worst team in the league to be first in that category. So, yeah, I think there's an element of the goals should turn around. The goals against and the goaltending, that's less certain because that is like largely impacted by the quality of goaltenders you have available to you, and the goalies haven't been particularly good. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're thinking, are they not playing? Are we completely like are we lost out there? They're not. They're just they're not quite as good, and their power play also, which they feasted on last year, is still fine, but just not, it's 25-30% worse than it was last year, and that's going to matter as well.
Like, a lot of people talk about how they changed the way that they play defensively, new defensive system this year, and how maybe the players just can't understand it. Has Jay Woodcroft put in a defensive system that is very difficult for National Hockey League players to get a grasp on? Because I can't buy that reasoning, man.
See, I'm picking up on your sarcasm because you're laying it on pretty thick. And I say this all the time, and I'm not trying to be dismissive. I played in the NHL. Like, I know it's very hard, and I've been traded mid-season. I know it can be difficult. I don't want to hear Jonathan Huberdeau is good to go in year 2 because now he's used to the system. Like, there is no system in the NHL that you can play that takes more than 2 weeks to sort of get 95% of it. Like, it's not nothing. Nothing is that confusing about, like, yes, there's communication and there's reads and there might be tendencies that you have to break. But if you want to go to a box and one or a zone or a swarm, like, honestly, none of it is that hard. None of it is that hard. So I'm not going to give anybody on any team sort of a 2-month-long pass because they're having trouble implementing a new defensive system. Now, could that defensive system be less effective for their group of players? That's a different conversation. Like, maybe they just don't, the skill set of their guys don't work quite as well, but they should be able to apply it for however coaches envisions it at this point in the season. There's really not, I don't buy that excuse too much. So no, I'm not giving it a pass based on system play.
MJ, as always, buddy, really appreciate it, man. Thanks for popping by today.
Somehow I think we might be having a different conversation next week. Maybe. Just maybe.
I hope we're not having the same one. That would really suck. So, we'll see you later, buddy. There you go. That's Mike Johnson putting in a good shift here today, breaking down the Edmonton Oilers. Glenn in the nasty chat says the soft goals are sewering the whole emotion of this team. What soft goal last night? Like, enough with the generic, oh, man, those are soft goals. Like, which goal was soft last night for Stuart Skinner? There wasn't one. There was man wide open right in the slot. No chance. There was a 2-on-1 clear pass all the way across. No chance. There was bounce off of one of his own players right onto the stick of Thomas Hertl for a one-timer 8 feet in front of him. No chance. Tell me where the soft goal was last night. We'll sit here and wait all day. There was no soft goal last night. Stop using that as an excuse as well. The soft goal last night was the reason. Nope. Sorry, man. I can't agree with you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the comment. Other games that might work. You can't roll in here today with soft goal excuse in last night's game.
Luke Gazdick as well was up late last night in the
yeah, it was.
Sportsnet
And
panel.
by the way, Gaz, great.
He's doing the Lord's work here. But he also talked, the question came up of the defensive system as well, and his answer to it was simply, and much to echo Mike Johnson, that if that was the case, I mean, we're not talking about it now. that either gets figured out before, or it's a couple of games, or it's not, as you mentioned, like, I'm thinking of this like Joshua Dobbs NASA type of thing where it's like all of these, and you got to put on AI glasses to kind of go through. It's just hockey, right? We're just talking hockey here. It's not.
Mike Johnson, Cassian, Sean Bell, Gazdick, these guys who played in the National Hockey League, who played professional hockey for a long time, have all said there's no system that they can put in that should confuse the guys to the point where you're completely blaming the system for guys being wide open. It's a commitment to being where they need to be defensively, especially off the rush.
How about this text? Looney Len. 780-218-9999 says, anybody who plays sports can look at the team and see there's something going on in the locker room. Somebody hates somebody. Somebody doesn't respect somebody. They just look like a team that there is some interpersonal behind-the-scenes stuff going on. You can see it. We just don't know what it is.
No, but they got rid of Jesse Puljujärvi. So, like, how's that? How can that be possible?
Have another.
I had to.
That cup,
I had to hit that
you-
one.
of
I mean,
course,
that
absolutely.
set me up for that one.
Thank you.
There was that shot of them. They were down 3-1 at the time. They went to a shot of the bench, and that was not a raw. Let's go take this game away from the San Jose Sharks. Look at the bench. It just wasn't. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. This text is in and says, well, slap my balls and call me Lucy. That was tough to watch. In other news, Jack Campbell has been waived by the Condors for purpose of reassignment to the ECHL. That was tough for Jack to let in his worst goal of the season in his first start in the American Hockey League. Guys, maybe the players had doubt about Woody after they didn't get past the second round last year, and now they don't believe in him anymore. Well, then they're a bunch of quitters. Stop giving this group of players a free pass. Jay Woodcroft could possibly be fired as a coach that literally doesn't have the ability to try different things with players who are scratches because they don't have enough cap space to actually do it. Like, they don't have enough cap space to operate a roster as a normal National Hockey League team would. And he's going to be the fall guy. He might end up being the fall guy. But Ken Holland's got to go too. I mean, you can't just pick one of those guys. If they're going to actually make changes, have to.
When you said, I know that his position now maybe is more of a figurehead role, but you can't have him there.
Figurehead, schmiggerhead.
No, but you can't have him. I know. Because to my point, I said you'd get him out because I don't want to see any move that's made with some sort of desperation. I know you said kind of two J's behind the scenes. But,
yeah, Jeff Jackson's not going to allow Ken Holland to do something stupid.
But you can't then have Holland name the new guy if you're bringing in a new guy, right? Again, I mean, the optics of that just look terrible.
Like, he would just be a frontman puppet. Like,
sure, I know, but it still looks terrible. Like, just get it all out of the way, right? Like, just
if Jeff Jackson
2J
was gonna, if 2J was just gonna sit there and allow Ken Holland to just make a significant decision again, I mean, he should probably have to go too. It's just, that's not going to happen. I mean, anything that happens, you cannot do anything without the approval of a CEO.
Yeah, but
in any business, anywhere.
They couldn't lose to the Sharks either. I'm just saying it's all on the table now. Rock bottom? Sounds like a dare. Right?
Guys, he doesn't have to scratch somebody. He just needs to bench somebody. Send some message. I think him and Holland have to go now. I did think there was an opportunity for him to sit Draisaitl down for like 2 shifts after he didn't skate. Matty, can you get that goal? Can we run a little bit of video on that? Just if anybody, I mean, people probably saw it. But if we have the time, we can kind of slide back around to it. We got Greg Wyshynski coming up here around 7:45 today as well. We're going to get into your cool bed hotline of the day. The inbox, the Paris Jewelers inbox, is just taking an absolute pounding today as well. The first goal. Hey, guys, if Holland is out, I cringe thinking of a rookie GM taking over this mess. I don't want to hear about Brad Holland or Keith Gretzky, who are some veteran candidates that you would consider for the job. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I wonder how much of a I don't know. Like, does Jackson just call some of the shots for a while until he finds somebody?
Keep the seat warm.
Like a working together, Jackson and Paul Coffey kind of handle things at that point. I just worry that you fire Jay Woodcroft before he's even coached 2 full seasons here. It's just a free pass for the group of players. And don't tell me, well, it's really gonna hit them because they cost their coach their job. What a horrible excuse.
Remember the Campbell thing?
Like,
that was going to shake up the room.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't buy into that as well. Donovan says, healthy scratch your underperforming players to send a message. Donovan, you can't. That's what we're saying, man. You can't. Like, that's impossible to do because they don't have other players that they can play in the lineup. Unless you're just going to, the ultimate sending a message, they roll with 8 forwards and 3D, like a Friday night 10:30 puck drop at River Cree. That's it. Guys, sorry, guys. They're not working, so they're not coming. I mean, all right, is this, we got, like, this is just unacceptable. Here, like, so Leon is right inside the blue line. He hasn't taken a stride in the last 5 to 6 seconds already. Now they get the puck. Watch him go. Right? So so he was going there. They lose the puck. Kind of just wide circle around. Watch this. Does not take a stride until this puck is in the back of the net. And he was involved in the play right there. And then doesn't go get the guy. Like, how can one of your leaders do that and not get sat down? The only thing I think of is Woodcroft's too afraid to do it or he's not allowed to do it. Instead, he puts these guys back together. Like, it was just an awful, awful shift from Leon Draisaitl. Like, the give-a-damn level was nothing. It was nothing. And if guys are going to give up on a coach, then those guys aren't going to win anything ever. It's that simple. That's why I would say, no, you're not giving up on a coach. You're getting through it with this coach. Figure it out. You're supposed to be a good hockey team. Bury some of the chances.
Well, then this isn't... Jay Woodcroft has every ability to do whatever he wants, benching guys. What's going to happen? What if he benched Leon yesterday?
Maybe Leon skates harder defensively.
No, but to the point of he can't do it because he's not allowed to. What's stopping him?
They're Connor and Leon and run the organization.
So what? You're going to get fired?
Who's that, Jay Woodcroft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then do it. Because you're going to get fired if you don't do it.
So you're saying just rip it off?
Well, no one's going to stop you in the game. You say sit down. Sit down. Like, if you want to be the coach of this team, if you want to turn this thing around, pull it off. Because if you don't do it, you still might lose your job. So do something that you might lose your job. Who cares? But if it turns the team around.
You're saying go down in flames.
Well, but it's not even going down in flames.
I respect the move.
It's not going down in flames. It's doing what you think is. If you sit there, if you're Jay Woodcroft in that game and you go, I need to sit Leon for a little bit. And you go, well, I might lose my job, though, so I can't. Leon, get out there. Go with Connor McDavid. Well, you lost the game. You still might lose your job. So if you believe that Leon, which is, I think, more that he doesn't want to do it.
The nuclear option we never knew we had, maybe, hey? That he's never used.
Because the worst case is he gets fired.
Option.
He's going to get fired either way. So do what you believe in doing. So to me, he's
fair
not doing.
Point.
So he's not doing what he believes he wants to do. This is what he believes he wants to do, which is not bench these guys. Which is maybe why he doesn't have the respect to some of these players. If you're going to go to whether these players respect him or not, is that he's not holding people accountable, and he's too scared to do it.
So you think Draisaitl and McDavid are like, yes, bench me. Come on,
no.
Do it.
I think
it's a real game of chicken right now.
Maybe it's not, but the rest of the team going, how am I supposed to listen to Jay? Why should I listen to him if he's not going to hold those guys accountable? He's not going to hold Evan Bouchard accountable. If he's not going to hold other players accountable, he's not going to hold me accountable, so why should I listen to him?
Sinks into the subconscious.
So what was the deal with Tippett and Todd McClellan then? I mean, these guys are
100%.
all-time coaches.
Hard
It didn't work here. Like, you're just giving this group a free pass again. They're not going to win anything.
It's
not a free pass.
It's not a free pass because you can't make the move with them right now. You can't. You're trying to turn this season around.
The problem is you can't make the move with a lot of these guys.
You could do it in the
anyway.
offseason. You could do it in the you deal with that in the offseason then. You deal with the roster makeup and the majority of this in the offseason then. But in season, that's where you just be like, hey, we'll try this coach thing again, make that move, figure it out later.
In a stretch like this, your leaders have to get you out of it. And those guys haven't done it yet. And I'm stunned by it. I honestly am stunned by it. Like, I just would have assumed that McDavid and Draisaitl, even on separate lines, how crazy that is. I would have thought that those guys took it to the Sharks last night, and they didn't, which is just insane. 780-218-9999. Let's get to a sports update for Park Mazda. Don't go anywhere. Your text messages. We're going to get to the Cool Bet hotline of the day as well. Boy, did the Oilers let us down yesterday on the old extravaganza. That one didn't work. We're going to dive into it. Cool Bet hotline of the day with Mr. Lean as well. We'll go there, but let's get to a sports update with Lieutenant Eric for Park Mazda. Don't go anywhere.
Oilers drop another one. This time to the Sharks. 3-2 your final from the SAP Center. Darnell Nurse, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with the Oiler goals as the club have now lost 4 straight. They'll limp in to tomorrow night's game in Seattle to cap a 3-game road trip. Penguins topping the Kings 4-3 in overtime. Kraken over the Avs 4-3. Kyle Connor with the Hattie. Jets pick up their third straight win, 6-3 over the Preds, and make it 5 straight wins for the Canucks. They top the Sens 5-2. NFL Week 10 kicking off last night. The Bears improving to 3-7 with a 16-13 victory over the Panthers. NBA action last night, just a pair. Giannis had 54 points. Not enough, though, as the Bucks would follow the Pacers 126-124, while Atlanta defeated Orlando 121-19 from Mexico City. Group stage action from the NBA in-season tournament continues tonight with 9 games. And the Edmonton Oil Kings back in action tonight. They'll kick off a home and away series with Calgary Hitmen, beginning tonight on the road and returning tomorrow night from Rogers Place. This sports update brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki. When Mitch is out on the ice in his beer league, he becomes bilingual. He speaks English and profanity.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as newborn 8-pound, 6-ounce Mitch Lewicki. You can picture grown-up Mitch, or teenage Mitch, or bearded Mitch, or whoever you want.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
It's time for the Coolbet Canada Hotline of the Day with Dustin Nielson, Lieutenant Eric, and Mr. Lean, only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
7:32 with the Nielson Show. To all you Oilers fans watching right now, and to those of you watching across the country just to see the reaction of Oilers fans, thank you very much for being here. Give us a sub. Hey, let's sub today. We crushed 5,000. We're creeping up towards 5,500. Let's go. Give us a sub if you're watching this morning. We'd appreciate it. You shaking up the 2 hoots today? Shaking up that bladder. With the lack of Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week today, because we did it on Wednesday, we're diving into the 2 hoots here a little bit today. Just a good breakfast hard iced tea. And it is, Maddie, what do you think? What do you think?
It goes down nice.
Right? It does.
It goes down nice.
Yeah. It's
and
delicious.
it's
and
just
to have
iced
it's just like a box of it sitting here. It's amazing.
Nice and cool.
Yeah.
Although it was in the fridge.
Are you seeing
You think it's been poisoned? Oh, no. Maddie, this is it. This is the day you take me down. Who's going to call the Bombers and Lions? God.
I got to send you the commercial. Sorry.
Did you find it?
I did find it.
Okay, well, quickly, let's just bring people in on this. So,
actually, I wonder if while you're talking, maybe I can put it on the show.
Okay, we'll see if you can find it. So yesterday we're doing Zoom calls with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And so Brady Oliveira, I didn't get to chat with Brady because I was wrapping up 2 guys in goalie. But we chatted with Zach, and then we chatted with Mike O'Shea. And I'm a huge fan of Osh. I think he's just one of the best dudes. And he's a huge fan of me calling games. So we wrap up the call yesterday. And before we leave, Osh was like, hey, Dusty, before you go, I just have to say, man, keep calling the games your way you're calling the games. Like, it's very exciting to back and watch. And he's like, you're the peanut butter guy. And I didn't get the reference. So I was just like, thanks, Osh. Like, that's cool. Like, so then I go over and I'm talking with Maddie in his office after, and I said, yeah, Osh was just saying that I keep the excitement in the calls and stuff. And Maddie goes, yeah, you're the peanut butter guy. And I said, how have 2 people in the last 3 minutes made a peanut butter guy reference, and I wasn't aware of what it meant? Do you know what the peanut butter guy reference is?
Well, I would take a guess that you have 2 pieces of bread, and then the peanut butter is a sticky substance and keeps the bread together.
No, it's the commercial.
It's a commercial, apparently. For what?
Jiffy?
It's Jif peanut butter.
All right.
I hope the audio plays on this.
Let's see if the audio plays.
Can no one speak?
Tasting Jif peanut butter is like tasting peanut butter for the first time.
What?
Every time.
What? Come on!
Jif peanut butter. Over 1,300 quality peanuts in every jar. Taste the difference. Tasting Jif peanut butter is like tasting peanut.
Wow. Yeah, so when you came over and said that, I was like, what?
Man, the crazy part is the kid looks like me.
That's you and Marshall combined. Yeah, that's like a...
The kid looks like me. That's amazing. Is that an old commercial?
It's like 2020.
I was going to say, because that kid's got a VR headset on.
Yeah, no, it was only the last,
That's too good, man.
2-3 years or something. That commercial
I
was
am
playing,
the peanut butter guy.
It was playing all the time. I can't believe you guys didn't know that one.
When Osh goes, you're the peanut butter kid. I was like, what does that mean? And then you're like, oh, no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I'm going to be peanut butter kidding the hell out of the West Final between the Lions and Bombers. If that game ends up being anything like that last game of the year that I didn't get to call, which would have been awesome. I mean, overtime thriller. Like, I won't come home, boys. That's it. I'm done. I don't even know why I won't come home. Like, it's not like I'm going anywhere else, but I just won't come home. I'll be too excited coming out of that game. Joe Belineski says, Dusty, you have to call games in a VR headset. Now, that's how I actually get my work in the off season. I get the game on VR headset and I sit in the basement and I call the hell out of it. Yeah.
You got to illustrate fake ones and you're just ready in the air.
I've got like a sex doll dressed up as Glenn Suter and it sits next to me and I go, hey, what do you think of that play, Glenn? And then I pretend to do Suits' voice and stuff. Yeah. No comments. All right, Greg Wyshynski's going to join us. Let's get into your cool bet hotline of the day. I like Dell in the nasty chat today. Oilers are making the playoffs guaranteed. I love it. I also said in early September the Oilers are winning the Stanley Cup.
Well, so did our next guest.
And I'm not gonna pretend I didn't. I'll own that one. I was way off. Way off.
Long season. Ain't over yet.
Almost.
Well, it's not even American Thanksgiving, man.
All right, cool bet hotline of the day. Mr. Lean. What are you looking at today, buddy?
Well, it's Friday. It's always I look towards
You're
the
going
weekend.
into the weekend? Yeah, you are.
I am not going to the Golden Bears.
Oh. You don't like them as a favorite?
Well, at the minus 154, I just don't think that value would be there. Like, that's going to be a tough game. I just rather watch that game in a sense and just cheer on the Bears. So I'm going to look at a different game that's happening tomorrow. It's the game you're calling.
Okay.
BC Lions, Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Okay. I like this.
I love the Bombers.
You do.
I love them going out there. I love what they're doing. They lost the last couple of meetings, but they won that first meeting this year.
They're kind of banged up.
Yeah, the question
They're
But so
banged up,
what about
man.
the Bombers?
No. You said you love the Bombers.
Oh, I mean, I'm loving the Lions. Sorry.
I was
Sorry.
gonna say, you
No, that's my bad.
scared me there.
My bad.
A classic mix-up.
Sorry. No, I'm loving the Lions.
No more two hoots for Maddie. This
I'm
morning.
loving the Lions. I'm loving with what VA's doing. I'm loving how that team might be picking it up at the right time. The Bombers dealing with a little something. No Dalton Schoen. No Rasheed Bailey.
Well, Bailey and Dembski are banged up, but I think they're probably going to go. Like,
but it's what are they?
I'd be surprised if this is a huge Kenny Lawler game. Like for the Bombers, if they're going to win, it's got to be a huge Kenny Lawler game.
Plus 170. Lions straight up money line.
Money line.
Give me
You're
the money line.
lining the Lions to
Give
go
me
in
the
and knock off
BC
the
Lions.
Bombers at IG Field.
Give me. It's hard to get to, what would that be? 4 straight Grey Cups?
It would be.
It's hard.
But why not just run it right up the gut with Brady Oliveira 1,000 times? Have him go off for 200 yards.
Because that Ryan Phillips is going to have a defense ready to go.
Their defense has not been good down the stretch.
It has not been, but I'm assuming they've been focused on this game for quite some time. This isn't, they've been focused on it for a week or something. They knew this is what the meeting was probably months ago. They've been preparing for it. I like the Lions getting their revenge out in Winnipeg, knocking off the Bombers. Give me the Toronto Argonauts. Give me the Vancouver or the BC Lions Grey Cup this year.
It's not going to really be a weather game. It's going to be like +1. Now it's going to cool down a bit because it doesn't start till like late afternoon, so we'll cool down a bit. So that helps. So that helps a little.
The Lions almost knocked them off last year.
They did.
And that weather
almost
that
locked
was
them
with
up. And
Nathan
it was,
Rourke, but VA's having an excellent season.
But our injured Nathan Rourke too.
Banged up Nathan Rourke.
And weather was a bigger factor then.
And you know what? BC should have beat them in that game at the end of the year. If Dominic Rhymes just gets down, they can kick a field goal and win it. So are you thinking this comes down to friend of the show, Sean White, walking it off at IG Field? And I call it and I go, Whitey, he's my friend.
Suter just passes out. Like, no.
I thought I was your friend. Look, man, I think it's going to be a great game. I'll be like the first game of the year between these two clubs, Lions win at IG Field, beat them 30-6. Then they play again at IG Field, and the Bombers crushed them. I think it was 50-14. Then they have this third game that basically was going to decide who hosted this game. And BC had it, man. And they let it slip away. Then they had it again, and they didn't get down in time to kick a game-winning field goal. So I think I like the plus 4.5. Pretty ballsy money line play, though. I respect it.
Bless you, Matty.
It'll be very interesting to see what the Bombers have at their disposal offensively. And we know that the Lions are a full go with Rhymes and Hollins and Hatcher, who I still think is probably the most, even though he's awesome, he's still kind of underrated.
Let's kick
Justin
this off.
McInnes.
Kick it off now.
Let's go.
Let's
go.
You just talked about
What
it.
time's that game? That's 4:30?
I don't know.
Oh. You don't know what time you're working tomorrow?
I don't. I know I have to be with John Liu at 12:30.
You'll just be in a daze today. 4:30 Mountain.
Because I can't wait for the afternoon tomorrow.
Yeah.
4:30 Mountain.
Montreal, Toronto,
4:30
1
Mountain,
o'clock.
so 5:30 Win.
So 1 o'clock, you settle in. Actually, 10 o'clock, you got Michigan, Penn State, college football.
Get some ribs going tomorrow? What are we talking? Chili?
Oh,
Is it chili day? Ribs?
I'm going to be having chicken tendies at the Elephant and Castle after.
Of course you will. Yeah.
1 o'clock, you got Montreal, Toronto. At 2 o'clock, for those that have CanadaWest.tv or TELUS, 2 cents, baby.
You're setting it up here.
Golden Bears taking on the Thunderbirds. That leads to 4:30, listening to you and Suits and John Liu giving us Lions, Bombers at 4:30. Later that night, you just got Georgia Ole Miss, which should be a fun game.
You got Man United.
Have you said Oilers Kraken?
Yeah, Oilers Kraken. Well, that's
There's USC taking on Oregon. I think Oregon could be upset in that game against USC.
Who are the Huskies playing in? Washington?
They got Utah.
Yeah. That's a big one.
When it
Michigan,
comes
Penn State game, 10 o'clock.
When it comes to the football tomorrow, oh boy, that's a good coach day.
That's a real nice coach day.
Between the CFL, U Sports, and college.
I'm really excited because I have back-to-back sleep-in days coming. Yeah. Saturday morning, I'll sleep in.
Well, and
Sunday morning, I can't. The only direct out is like 2 o'clock. So I'll be sleeping in Winnipeg. I might even go sprinkle in a little NFL at Confusion Corner with Haas and his group of merry men.
Mr. Ritz Cracker?
Yeah, maybe Mr. Ritz Cracker will be there.
I'd
That'd
love
be
to see
great.
a picture of you, Mr. Ritz Cracker. But you were alone last night. You had Donair supper? What was it?
Well, yeah. So the family's gone. It's really weird. I even went and stood in the carpet in the middle of the living room and did like my own Will Smith gif. I was just like looking around. Then I texted it to my wife. And she's like, "Aw." And then I was like, well, maybe I'll have a nap. So I laid down at like 4 o'clock. Who has a nap at 4 p.m.? But I was like, it's a late game. I wanted to watch Loki too, so it's going to be a late night. But I couldn't fall asleep.
Yeah.
So then I got back up, did some CFL prep, ordered a Donair from Fire Zone. Unlike the others, they deliver every time.
Consistency.
It was good. And then, watched Loki, watched the game. Ended up not going to bed until like quarter to 1.
A maintenance night for you.
It was nice.
The bedtime is standard. I mean, that's what you do every night. But
I love being a dad and a husband.
Yeah.
But to have like one night every like 18 months where you have the house to yourself, it's pretty cool.
You've been away on the weekends. Like you're moving around. It's nice to have just a night.
It's just like, it was just like, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Focus on your breathing.
It was really, I did a little bit of meditation. That was good too. Yeah, I haven't even done my Cool Bet Hotline of the day yet. It's gonna be quick. You're gonna hate me for it. Toronto Maple Leafs in regulation. I know. Boo me. Go ahead, boo me. They have sucked. Guess who they get today? The Calgary Flames. Austin Matthews going to torch the Calgary Flames tonight. Toronto Maple Leafs in regulation in a game that they got to have. Plus 107. Ugh. This is just gross. This is where we're at now in Edmonton. I'm telling you to bet on the Maple Leafs in regulation at plus 107. With that being said, yesterday in the lock shop, I saw somebody in the nasty chat said, the lock shop has been paying my bills this week. Because we hit another plus 560 or something last night. 3-gamer, Dallas in regulation, Canucks and Rangers. Really a no sweater. Loved it.
Putting your kids through college.
Putting your kids. Stay cool, bet responsibly.
Yes.
But if you're with us, do it at coolbet.com. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you do. Corey at work says, Dusty, do you ever go to the hotel hot tub when you're traveling? Well, I am a hot tub monster.
Question.
I do, but I don't. I don't on the road. I don't know.
A little soak.
Like I'm getting in tonight at like 7. Go for dinner with the guys at like 7:30. Probably stay there till about 9:30 or 10. Go back up to the room. Prep for like 2.5, 3 hours. Go to bed at 1. Sleep until 9. Probably get up. Do some more prep. Have a shower. Go see John Liu. Come back and then over. So it's just like
the shower for
there's
the
no time for a hot shower.
Shower for hot.
I'm a little concerned about this itinerary.
Why?
I'm not hearing Huss. Is there no time for you and Huss?
I'll tell you what's going to happen with Huss.
Saturday night? Okay.
So what'll probably happen with us, we haven't discussed it yet, but I would assume after the game on Saturday night, our crew goes for some dinner, and then when they're ready to go to bed, I go find Huss and the boys at Wind City Pub, and it's an all-nighter. So I'm very much looking forward to that. That should be good.
Just quickly, Jake from Coolbet says, tell Dusty to stop betting on my damn hockey team.
Jake is a hardcore Leafs fan. I can't wait. Jake's on Lock Shop today with Patty and Huss, and I love when the Leafs are struggling because Jake's in full-blown mental breakdown mode. He's the best.
He's like Nanso?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the tweet last night at me that said, Dusty, I know you guys don't take calls on Edmonton Sports Talk, but is there any way Tommy could phone Hernan and you guys could put him on the air? That would have been great.
Do we want to parlay for this weekend?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean,
let's do it. Well, he was
let's keep looking. Let's keep looking. We'll figure it out.
We'll make a parlay still?
Well, I mean, we're looking at the Oilers and Golden Bears. Yay. They can only let us down so many times.
So
right,
we
boys?
do what? Bears money line.
Bears money line.
Oilers regulation.
Dive
or
into that.
Oilers money
Let's
line.
not get carried away
Just
with this
two money lines?
regulation confidence.
Just two money lines.
Just two money lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Greg's ready to go, by the way.
All right. Well, let's get to Greg Wyshynski, who pops by today from Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for
metal.
Metal, exactly. Any metal, cut to size, ready fast. They can really turn it around very quickly, unlike the 2023-24 Edmonton Oilers. And boy, I said earlier I picked them to win the cup, and I'm an idiot. And let's get joined by another idiot right now, Greg Wyshynski from ESPN. Wyshynski, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
They're gonna be fine. They ran into a very.
It's not even
They ran
Thanksgiving
into
yet,
a
right?
very hot. They ran into a very hot team last night. Winners of 2 in a row, and they're gonna be fine. I think, right?
Well, did you not on the drop have like 5 ways to fix the Oilers?
Yeah, and they didn't watch the show apparently because they didn't get fixed. The one thing in doing the drop on the Oilers this week that really was revelatory is, again, when you look under the hood of this team, they're doing some really good things, but just not getting any results. I mean, like, their expected goals against is not terrible.
It's first.
But
it's
again,
first in
like,
the league.
it's usually. Well, that's in goals for, they're first.
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
league.
yeah.
But
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
against,
sorry.
they're-
Yeah, I thought you said 4. Yeah. my
Yeah,
bad.
and against they're respectable, and it's frequently been undercut by bad goaltending. But last night was a really good example of what Connor was talking about about the death of 1,000 cuts of this season, in the sense that they get decent goaltending, and then the offense atrophies. It's one part of the system gets a green light, and then the rest goes into system failure. It's inexplicable, but I guess not inexplicable when you think about teams that are just spiraling and slipping into the abyss. I mean, this is usually how it goes, and it makes trying to fix them a daunting task.
Well, what did you come up with?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's just it's simple things like shoot better. The bottom line is that when you look at their shooting percentage in the entirety of the offensive zone, it's dropped off. NHL Edge, the puck and player tracking, separates the offensive zone into 15 quadrants. In 10 of them, their shooting percentage is lower than it was last year. That's inexplicable. I mean, I guess one of the things is to have faith that the offense is going to turn around because shooting percentage is elastic. Another really easy fix is stop playing the Canucks. They'll do that. You don't have to play them for a while.
Not till April.
But overall, the real question now is that would firing Jay Woodcroft be a thing that helps? And I mean, we've reached the point of the descent where you either have to make a major trade to shake up the roster or you need to fire the coach. And I think firing the coach is probably easier than the major trade part, just because you don't have to worry about a salary cap with hiring a new coach. But I mean, they just looked disengaged and afraid to. I mean, like Draisaitl said last night, nobody has any confidence right now, which is astounding for a team that walked into training camp being like, we are going to be more prepared than ever to win the cup this year. And now it's they're the last team in the league.
Yeah, it's weird because Nugent Hopkins last night said he doesn't think it's a confidence issue. So I don't know if they're not on the same page with what they believe the issues are. You mentioned Jay Woodcroft and a possible coaching change. But we also mentioned, they're number one in the league in expected goals for. And Jeff Jackson has come in, and the one thing we heard about Jeff Jackson is, he's very analytically driven, believes in it a lot. They hire Parkati to come in and help take their analytics department to another level as well. Do you think the saving grace here that the analytical decision makers in the organization might look at that expected goals for and say, it's going to come, let's just keep pushing forward, or are we beyond that point now?
Well, this is where we get into the dicey area of like the ethereal confidence and will of a team versus how they're performing. Like you said, I mean, like it is hard to look at their underlying numbers and say that Jay Woodcroft should pay for a lack of execution or should pay for the malfeasance of the goaltenders because they're still doing a lot of things that are good. I mean, like the other thing I was going to point out about analytics is, and I don't know if you've mentioned on the show before, but like according to Statsleets, McDavid is first in the league in primary assists that lead to shots, but like close to 200th in the league in primary assists. So like he's setting up his teammates. They're just fumbling the bag. And so, does that mean a new coach will all of a sudden get these guys to finish chances? I don't know. But the other part of the equation now is the vibe of it all. Like, I was talking to somebody at Red Wings practice the other day, like hockey lifer, and we were talking about the idea of like who's available out there if Woodcroft got fired. And we started talking about Bruce Boudreau. And Bruce Boudreau does nothing to help this team's defensive problems, right? Even though I think he did a pretty good job in Minnesota defensively. But the minute he walks into that room, the vibe changes. Like, that's his gift. The gift is that the vibe changes. And then you start to say to yourself, okay, so like, is it worth firing Jay Woodcroft to just have a new voice there, to not have somebody who has flop sweat talking after every game about another loss, and to just feel better about things, that maybe things can look upward, versus the fact that he's doing a pretty good job systems-wise on a team that's just not executing.
Fascinating to see how they end up trying to get this thing back on track. What do you think when you hear lost the room? Woodcroft's lost the room. I mean, to me, that would mean that basically you lost your leadership core. But we were talking about it with Mike Johnson earlier today. You've been to the playoffs the last 2 years. You lost to the team that eventually ended up winning the Stanley Cup championship. You weren't even close against Colorado, but you gave the Golden Knights a really good push last year. How would you, if you believe in the theory of losing a room, how do you do that in 12 games? It seems pretty quick to just have everybody give up on you as a coach.
I mean, lost the room can mean different things. Lost the room can mean that the players don't want to play for him, which is usually how you would use that statement. And I don't think that necessarily applies to Edmonton. But lost the room could also just mean that your message no longer resonates with these players, and you don't have ways to get them out of funks and slumps and get them to execute better. And that's plausible. Like I don't think that these guys are just like, get this guy out of here, he's incompetent. Like, we're not going to play for this guy anymore. I don't think that's the case at all. But like the idea of changing a voice behind the bench and trying to maybe tactically change a couple things here and there to find a better result. I mean, I think that's plausible, even though you're right, the sample size is quite small. But I mean, that's how dire things have gotten. And I mean, like, again, there's always a chance they're going to play out of this. People forget about this team being the team that won 16 out of 19 games to end the season last year. Like, of all the teams that are in dire straits right now, this is the one that is obviously the one who could put together a string of 2 good weeks and get right back into a wild card race. There's no doubt about that. It's just finding a way to get there. And is Woodcroft the guy to kind of steer that ship when the players' spirit and confidence is broken? I don't know. I mean, that's the real question that Ken Holland's going to have to answer right now.
Greg Wyshynski with us here on the Nielson Show this morning. The Toronto Maple Leafs have dropped 5 of 6. Is the Calgary Flames rolling into town what fixes the Maple Leafs right now?
Can we talk about how every team in Canada is a dramatic mess?
It is kind of messy, isn't it? Like,
no, except for Montreal. Like, Montreal is the only team right now where you look at them and like the biggest controversy about Montreal is like, where should Slafkovsky play? Like even Vancouver, who's a steamroller, is spending most of their time talking about did Trevor Linden or Jim Benning draft Elias Pettersson? Like, it's just like it's incredible to me that every single team in that country right now has got something going on. It's wild, except for Montreal, probably because they're just like we think and we're going to think until we're good again. The funniest thing about this Leafs thing is this Klingberg stuff, where now all of a sudden it looks like he might be a scratch for this game, and it's just like, what did you guys expect?
I was just going to say, wow, surprise.
I mean, again, like there's been so much attention paid by Leafs fans to both the plight of Ryan Reeves and John Klingberg, and it's in Reeves' case, you knew what you were getting, and I think the shock of it was that they're going to be getting it for 2 more seasons after this. But in Klingberg's case, they also knew what they were getting, which is a guy who has really kind of just fumbled away a really promising career because of an inability to play defense at an NHL level most nights. I still think about that show me contract that he took with the Anaheim Ducks for 1 season. It's one of the craziest things. It's like, I've never seen somebody take a show me contract and then not show anything. And yet that's what he did in Anaheim. And then the Leafs are like, oh, we've got to get this guy on the line. So, they're going through a little bump right now. I don't think the panic and outrage inherent in the fan base is in any way in sync with the actual results on the ice. Like, I think they're fine. It's just that they're, going through some defensive lapses right now, and clearly that's being reflected on the scoreboard.
How about Connor Bedard last night? 4-point game. Youngest to do it since what? Like before the 50s? Not bad?
For the mums.
Yeah, I was reading about how Luke Richardson was trying to get him to be more aggressive and going after the puck and kind of like making plays, and that's good. I mean, that's the kind of growth you want to see from a young player who obviously is probably going to be a little bit more deferential in his first few games in this league. So Connor on the attack obviously gets results. This is good news for him. We did our NHL Awards watch earlier this week, and he is atop the Calder Trophy rankings right now amongst the people who actually vote on the award. And I've said for a while, like, unless somebody has a really exceptional season behind him, or if he is maybe slightly below what people's preseason expectations and hype were for this guy, he's probably going to waltz the Rookie of the Year. And right now, I think he's hitting his marks and he's playing well. And Chicago's winning maybe more games than we thought they would. So it's full steam ahead for him to be Rookie of the Year this year.
Greg, what's coming down the pipe at ESPN?
Well, we got something on the site today about player safety and what players are doing with regard to keeping themselves safe from skate slice injuries and things like that after the Adam Johnson tragedy. And so that's on the site now. And then yesterday I wrote about 10 trends that have started early in the season and which ones we can expect to continue and which ones are fraudulent. So you can check out that column as well.
Also, I think I have to say congratulations on your new contract with ESPN, buddy. You haven't got fired yet. Well done.
Yeah. Multi-year deal.
Wow.
Very excited about it.
Is there a no trade clause, or how's that work?
Oh, trust me, as any Puck Soup listener knows, there is definitely a no trade clause. But no, it's awesome. Like, listen, anytime you can stay employed, it's good. But it's also that, like, we've done really good work, and I think the relationship's been good, and I'm happy that it continues. And I'm also really happy that, like, they're giving me stuff to do. I mean, the drop is on twice a week with me and Arda, and still, doing the columns and all this other stuff. So, like, it's lots more stuff in the pipeline, and I'm happy that we get to continue to make things together.
Excellent, buddy. Congrats, man. We'll chat next week.
You got it, man. Thanks.
There you go. That is Greg Wyshynski from Metal Supermarkets, your convenience stores for
Metal.
Boom, that hits, eh? Convenience stores for metal. It is fascinating in the United States with sports media. Isn't it, like, get a big deal done with Wyshynski, ESPN PRs, putting it out. It's just like the media south of the border is almost treated like the leagues themselves. We're up here, it's like, you're just lucky to have a job. It's
scribe.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'm very jealous of the American media and how they're looked upon by pretty much everybody down there. It's interesting.
Well, and the other side is the Jets and that franchise is only viewed when it's threatened to move to the States, right?
Yeah.
In terms of doing good, it's kind of like, wait, whatever.
Yeah, like Winnipeg had an interesting offseason. I think that's
I
probably
get
like,
that.
but
I get
they
his point
smoothed
there.
it out now.
They've smoothed it out,
They
which
smoothed it out
again,
now.
you could look at a few points
Yeah.
and say, whoa, this could have really sent you into the ditch. And
Somebody was in the Nasty Chat earlier and said, Dusty, go get on that plane to Winnipeg. Everything is fine here right now. And it will be unless Mr. Lean hits and the BC Lions roll in and come away with a West. That's going to be a tough place to do it. Tough place to do it. They got the weapons. I just worry a little bit. Like, they're not going to be able to establish a running game. That's not what the BC Lions do. So it's going to be an air show for the Lions, which I'm totally on board with. I think that's going to be great. All right. Let's set it up. Kind of easy trivia. Who wants a gift certificate to Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual right now? Why not cheer yourself up with a gift certificate? Go get a Mike Burger. Pickle in, pickle out. Doesn't matter. You're going to love it. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Nice juicy patty. Can't go wrong. Text 780-218-9999 and let Maddie know that, hey, I want to play for the gift certificate. He'll pick one of you. We'll do that. 3 questions too many coming up. We're going to set up the Golden Bears and the Thunderbirds, your local spin for United Sport and Cycle. Darren DuPont is going to be calling that game. He is going to join us, and I cannot wait to hear what he expects from the Golden Bears. And, of course, more of the breakdown of the Oilers losing to the only team that is still technically behind them in the standings as of this morning. But how can you not say the Oilers are the worst team in the league? Right? There's only one team that they have the same amount of points. They've just played another game, and they beat you. The Oilers are the worst team in the National Hockey League, which doesn't make any sense. But I'm not sure they deserve any better. What a weird time to be alive. Nothing makes sense right now. Let's get to a sports update for United Sport and Cycle, your home of hockey and pretty much every sport in this city for, I don't know, forever.
Taking 4 straight losses for the Oilers. They fall in San Jose 3-2 to the Sharks. They'll cap the 3-game road trip tomorrow night in Seattle. Other action last night, so the Kraken knock off the Avs 4-3. Kyle Connor with a hat trick. Jets win their 3rd straight, 6-3 over Nashville. They get 5 straight wins for the Canucks. They top the Senators 5-2, and the Penguins over the Kings in overtime by a score of 4-3. Week 10 in the NFL kicking off last night from Chicago is the Bears improving to 3-7. They defeat the Panthers 16-13. Pair of games in the NBA last night. Hawks over the Magic 120-119 down in Mexico City, while Giannis had 54 as the Bucks would fall to the Pacers 126-124. 9 games will dot the NBA in-season tournament schedule tonight as group stage action will continue. Edmonton Oil Kings, they're back in action tonight. They'll kick off a home and away with the Calgary Hitmen tonight in Calgary, and tomorrow back home from Rogers Place. Sports update for United Sport and Cycle, your home of hockey for over 95 years.
That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
.803 on the Nielson Show. Dustin Nielson and Lieutenant Eric with you. Tell your friends about the show. Some of you may have just discovered it. And maybe you're listening from around the world. Let us know when you're listening, because we're going to have a map eventually, and we're going to put pins where everybody's listening.
Yeah, it could be a pin. Also, lots of first-time texts this morning.
Good,
in the
good. I like
inbox.
that.
It's really nice to see. And if you are texting in for the first time, add a name, be somebody, have a handle. If you want to go by anything, maybe live a life that maybe you're Ken in real life in your day-to-day, and you want to be like Super Ken. We can call you that.
Or even like Trevor or something.
Anything you want.
You can be whatever you want.
You can be somebody, but if you're texting in, add a name to it so we can kind
Paris
of
Tudor's
properly
inbox
identify.
is like living in an AI world. Like
you're
in
right.
The
Yeah,
Sims,
yeah,
something
exactly.
like that. That'd be pretty good, actually. That inbox is taking an absolute pounding today. If you're watching on YouTube for the first time, you're like, man, I got to get in my car and go to work. I wish I could keep listening to this static-free. Well, you can. Just go to edmontonsportstalk.com. You can click listen live there, or just download the TuneIn app for free download on the TuneIn app, and you can find us on there. You can favorite us, then we pop up every single time you hop on. It's very easy. Just connect it to your car, and on the dashboard, right there on the way to work. We think you'll like it. We're over 1,100 favorites now on TuneIn. That TuneIn thing's actually turned out to be pretty good, I think.
Quite the place.
Yeah, TuneIn was a
hopping website.
TuneIn was a good idea. Well done, Mr. Lean. Well done. That's why you're the COO of Edmonton Sports Talk. All right.
Also,
what?
Next Wednesday, last day to get into the pop-up store. Merch, if you want to purchase it, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, EST shop at the very top. Thanks to our partners at the Hive Product Marketing, products that bring the buzz, HiveProductMarketing.com. We have till Wednesday to get that order in.
We have kid stuff in there now.
It's a
because it's a pop-up store. On Wednesday, it pops away. So I guess Thursday to be gone. Wednesday's the last day.
Yeah, Wednesday's the last day to get in. You'll get it December 15th or sooner.
Hey, what about for us? I still haven't placed an order.
We have to get in by December 15th or November 15th.
Oh, so I'm on deadline too.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, I got pressure shot.
We have to get that done. So, like, anyone that wants, including all of us here.
Yeah. Okay.
November 15th.
Good to know.
To get the shop, and then we can put the orders in, and we can get the stuff, and we can get it to you before Christmas.
I want to get one of the, because what were the hoodie colors? Navy, black, and white? Or is it just navy and...
Do we have the three or four?
There's 4 colors?
I don't know.
Anyway, I want to get one, wrap it up for myself under the tree, and be like, oh, an Edmonton Sports Talk hoodie. What I always wanted.
Whipping out gifts here.
Yeah,
Another one.
What
wow.
is this?
Santa, very
That's
generous
all the
this
kids
year.
are going to get this year is just EST swag. So, look, if you have treat yourself.
Gray, navy, black.
Gray, navy,
for the
black.
hat, for the hoodie.
You can wrap up the Christmas shopping before American Thanksgiving here. But we're giving you the opportunity to do so.
What lasts longer, the Oilers season or our pop-up store? They've got until Wednesday to turn this thing around. Go to EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Just click on EST Shop and hop in if you want something. Make sure you order before the 15th. We'll eventually have like another store up in the new year at some point, but this is a pop-up store, so get in there now and get your stuff. Christmas shop, do whatever you want. Appreciate the support, and you'll be looking real good. Darren DuPont's coming up around 8:30. Hey, you see my tweet last night? The Oilers and Elks both opened with 2 wins in their first 12 this year. Think about how much of a disaster. Now, that's half the season for Edmonton, but it's really funny because I'm sure at the time we would have got messages being like, can you imagine the Oilers opening with 2 wins in their first 12? Oh. That would never happen. CFL, man. Well, it did happen. It has happened, and we're not sure they get out of it. What a mess. All right, who's playing Kind of Easy Trivia today,
Beef
buddy?
Nips.
Beef Nips is going to slide in here today, trying to get his hands on that gift certificate to Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual, the casualest place ever, the corner of 137th Ave and Mark Messier Trail, right in the Hampton in there, and go have some Mr. Mike's and a nice snooze if you want. They also have a brand new location in Fort Sask as well. That's a standalone. That's not in a hotel. Try the classic Mike Burger. Beef Nips, you ready to go, buddy?
Let's go.
All right, I will start the ticker after I read the first question. You need to get 3 out of 5 correct, and we really need a win today, Beef Nips, all right?
Sounds good.
Here we go.
Party Friday.
How many goals did the Oilers score last night?
2.
What position does Mackenzie Blackwood play?
Goalie.
How many wins do the Oilers have this season?
2.
Which team won the NFL Thursday Nighter?
Bears.
How many teams are still alive in the CFL playoffs?
4.
Sports expert.
No! No! My God. Damn it, Shake, stop it!
They are going to remember that AM radio is a viable and modern source for news and entertainment. Totally. People don't listen to AM like they used to. Seems like it's more about FM and color TV. That's stupid. It sure is, Kevin.
I'm stoked. You stoked?
I'm stoked.
Just
I'm
so stoked.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
.809 Beef Nips gets it done. Beef Nips was the guy who was getting on the road for work and getting some sleep and texted in and apologized to Mrs. Beef Nips. What a show we've got cooking here today, right? Cooking just like the burgers at Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual. The steaks, sirloin bites, salads, chicken salads, delicious beverages. This is why we have the Nielson draft parties are hosted at Mr. Mike's.
Treat yourself today. Little retail therapy
Yeah.
from the pop-up shop. Go to Mr. Mike's, get 2 pickles, get 1 in, 1 out if you want. Treat yourself today because the hockey team ain't treating you to anything.
No, do it all, man. Like,
do it all.
Go hit up Pro-Am. I mean, there's no way to be happier.
Full
Go hit
tour.
Pro-Am. Go hit up
Friday,
Wayne's.
yeah.
Whip into metal supermarkets and just get a piece of metal. Maybe they can put a big dub in the middle of it or something. You can feel good about picking up a win today. There's lots of different ways to cheer yourself up. and that would be one of them. The only thing the Oilers have on the schedule so far right now is a 2:30 Edmonton time practice today. There's been no other press conference called or anything. Do you guys, and listen, if you're watching right now, you can chime in, nasty chat it, or you can text us 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. By the way, if you want to win text of the day today, we are looking for soap opera names describing the Oilers season. You can get yourself a gift certificate to A&W with that. We had some really good suggestions a little bit earlier on, just to kind of give you a feel for what we're looking for in that text of the day contest today. Let's just dive back in. We had a lot of good ones in the inbox already, which will obviously be in the mix for this, but the tone was set last night on Twitter. Coronation Bleak, General Malaise, the young and the listless, the young and the useless, As My Stomach Turns, One Life to Ruin, No Goals to Save Our Lives, The Young and the Winless, and the list just kept coming and coming and coming. So a soap opera name for the Oilers season. Let's go. 780-218-9999. What are the odds, you guys? Let me just make sure this isn't one of the three questions here today. I don't want to. No, I guess it would kind of tie into three questions. So let's just get into three questions too many. Lieutenant Eric, do you have a liner for the segment?
Three questions too many, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda, including Mitch Lewicki. He'll have all the football on tomorrow at the dealership. Every single game. Canadian college, U.S. college, CFL. He'll even rerun some NFL films stuff just to get your mind off the hockey. Park Mazda, your dealer for life.
The young and the arrogant. Freezer bag.
Wrong there.
Coming in with some heat today. 780-218-9999. You want to win a gift certificate to A&W and also pop by the office to pick it up? This is how you do it. Get these soap opera names for the Oilers season rolling in as well. As the Corsi Falls. That one in from Jonathan today. Keep those rolling in. Do you have a Twitter account?
It's at Lieutenant_Eric, and as well, Edmonton Sports Talk at YEG Sports Talk. You can follow our station account on Twitter. That's where you go for the pre-post, the signals, text this, do that. That's the main account of us, and everything kind of flows out of the at YEG Sports Talk on Twitter. And on TikTok and on Instagram.
And what's the TikTok?
Edmonton Sports Talk. Just search it up. Edmonton Sports Talk. Same in TuneIn.
Trev posted a TikTok yesterday. He was asking me questions on a mystery Oiler.
You did a bit of a quiz.
2 clues. Yeah. I only needed the 2 clues. Ended up getting it. So that was easy. But it was still fun. That was fun. You hit us up on the TikTok there. All right, here we go. Question number 1. Guys, what are you setting the odds at of a coaching change actually happening today? Where do we set this at? We're a big odds show, right, with our partners over at Cool Bet. What are you giving it? Like a 50-50 shot?
Like a 40-60.
40-60, 40 he does get fired today?
Yeah.
Or 40 he stays. 40 he goes?
40 he goes. Yeah, 60 he stays, I would say. Not what I would do, or I think.
No, but this is not what we're saying.
Yeah. Knowing this organization, everything else attached.
I would, Mr. Lee. What do you think on this? What do you like? I know you think a coaching change would be the play here.
Yeah,
but what do you think they actually? What do you think the odds are they actually do something today?
I'd go 50-50.
50-50.
Just because there's a game tomorrow, so it's pretty quick to get something figured out and sorted out. And like, part of this is, to me, it's not just Jay that needs to go. It would be other people that need to go. And how quickly, how easy is it to make those decisions if you're Daryl Cates or Jeff Jackson or Paul Coffey? It's you get rid of Ken Holland, and maybe it's working out those pieces here. It is only 7:14 in San Jose and on the Pacific Coast, so it is early for them to call anything or mention anything right now, I would say. But look, it's got to be at least 50-50 when you got Jay Woodcroft walking off the ice saying our time might be done or whatever, and Dave Manson going, yep, they even know that this could be coming. So I would go 50-50.
You know what this team needs at practice today? They need Glenn Gulletson to throw a stick into the stands. Right? Like, if nobody's going to freak out, let Glenn Gulletson just go and lose his mind on the entire group. That would be something. I'm going to put it at like 25, no, not even, 15%. 15% chance they actually make a coaching change today. Maddie mentioned, they have a game tomorrow. They're on this trip. They could give them one more chance to salvage things against Seattle.
The Picker game.
Even if
the
they
Picker game.
the Picker game. Even if they win that game, you could still make a change. But I just don't know how a CEO who's analytically driven will look at the team being first in expected goals for and pull the trigger on it. I think this might be a good thing for Jay Woodcroft, that this group might be a little bit more analytically driven. Maybe. I don't know. That's why I'm going to put it at about 15%. Question number 2. 780-218-9999. I love these guys always trying to stir something up. I just saw Gerard Gallant at the Seattle airport. Of course, people are going to say stuff like that.
Tracking planes. Are we back to tracking planes days?
That's kind of funny, actually. But no, this question comes in 780-218-9999. Hey guys, you said that it was canning day for the 6 o'clocker lager. How long until we can pop those bad boys and start taking them down?
Great question.
By the absolute latest, it would be December 1st, because December 1st is already like on the calendar as a Friday for Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week, where we will be here with Scott drinking the 6 o'clocker lager. Now, we're having we're going to be popping a couple of them with a special sort of like launch of it at Alley Cat earlier that week. And then I believe Scott was saying, and you're going down for the canning today. You and YouTube Trevor can pop down there and get some viz of it for
As
a video.
you said, see how the sausage is
It's
made.
good. I'm jealous. I wish I could come with you because I want to see them just beer in, boom, boom, boom. It can't lay. It seems like a very cool process.
I want to take a ride on it. It's like Willy Wonka, that type of thing. That's kind of what we're going for here.
But we're doing that. We're gonna do like a watch along on the 24th. For the Capitals and Oilers. It's an afternoon game, and we're just going to stream ourselves watching it from our couch here in the EST offices. And Scott was hinting that we might be able to have some 6 o'clock lager that day for the watch-along, which would be very fun.
That'd just be nice.
Yeah.
Week out.
That would be
taste.
good. It's still so cool that we're going to have our own beer, man. Like,
it's been a long time coming.
That's pretty fascinating.
Yep.
It's kind of neat to see this process. Maddie, weren't you talking about for the watch along? Was I listening? What was I listening to yesterday? You were talking. Was it yesterday or was it the day before?
Don't air lair?
No. Oh boy. No, but you were saying, do we run the audio on the station or is it just a YouTube exclusive?
I think it was with Jay. Yeah, a couple days ago.
Yeah, it must have been with Jay a couple days ago.
Well, not as much a YouTube exclusive, but how would that sound of just us making comments? But there could be times where we're not saying anything.
I feel like we would be talking quite a bit.
Yeah, so I made...
There's going to be how many of us?
I made the decision. Well, but then also, actually, the other part is it going to come across mic-wise? It should.
Are we going to set up mics?
I'll have to figure all that out. Technically, I'll have to figure all that. But in the end, is one like we'll throw on the stream. Both we'll be on YouTube, but we'll also do the audio stream.
Yeah.
And if we're getting a lot of messages going, this boy's not it, we'll just kill it and go to a replays.
Yeah.
So, because you know what we could do? Whatever the hell we want.
Well, I think that you just put an ISO cam on YouTube Trev, and people will watch him watch.
There's definitely a YouTube Trev ISO cam. Well, that'd be fun setting it all up.
That picture of him last night prior to the post-game show, sitting in here with his head between the knees there that Tommy took.
Yeah, that's tough. A young man, that YouTube Trev, and he's having a hard time dealing with this start.
He's growing up quick here, hey?
Very much so. Question number 3. Which player ends up being the MVP of the weekend in the Canadian Football League? Mr. Lean, you have to say Vernon Adams. If you're pulling,
I was about to say it's VA.
Yeah, you have to
it's
say VA.
Not necessarily. It could be Chad Kelly. It could be like an AJ Ouellette from Toronto, potentially.
You're not going to go with Cody Fajardo?
Some people think a wild card choice.
No, VA, baby.
I think I have to go with the guy that I think should be the MOP this year, and Brady Oliveira. I think Brady Oliveira pushes the Bombers. Like, that's the one advantage. Now, there's a couple of advantages, I guess, with this game. The Bombers have done it, right? The Bombers. Is there a random walking in? Is there a complete stranger walking in the office right now? Okay.
Oh, is he
trying
cards?
Is he trying to poison us?
Yeah. Does he have the OV? Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, are you making a deal right now?
Those 3 Oilers on the team.
Eric, you got to get that deal done. Eric, go make the trade.
Sorry, what?
So, what's up, man? So, basically, when you look at it, BC might have the advantage in receiving core right now. They all seem healthy. They're not even playing Lucky Whitehead, basically, at this point. So, they all seem healthy. Bombers are banged up. Bombers have home field advantage. At IG Field, that is significant. It's interesting. The BC Lions this week were practicing at BC Place so they could pump in crowd noise as opposed to practicing outside to get ready for the elements. And I've seen some people being like, that's nuts. But if it's only going to be +1, I do think it's probably more important. One of the things they learned last year was dealing with the crowd noise and the scene there at IG Field.
Wind chill's -7 at afternoon. I'll feel like -7.
That's not too bad.
When you're running around, it shouldn't be as bad.
Your body heats up, right? Isn't that thing?
Yeah, and I don't think you could really replicate the Winnipeg weather in Vancouver.
No. Like, what are you going to do, get a bunch of fans outside? I mean, like, big, actual, like, industrial fans. Probably get them at Spectrum Rental. Who knows? So, VA or Brady Oliveira? If Winnipeg wants to run the ball...
You don't think it might be Collaros?
Well, it could always be Zach, man. I mean, the guy is ridiculous. I just worry, like, they use Dembski in so many different ways. If he's like, they're banged up. We know they're banged up. Like, Bailey's banged up, and Bailey's like their most important blocking receiver. So,
I will say this. Because of all the banged up receivers, I'll go away from Zach Larson and go maybe Kenny Lawler then. Kenny
Lawler's a great answer.
He could go off for 200 yards
I
in a
asked
game,
Osh about Lawler
right?
yesterday. I said, I feel like we could be talking a lot about Kenny Lawler in this game. So how big is it that you guys brought him back, and has he been even better than you expected? I mean, Lawler's 3rd in the league in receiving yards per game. He just couldn't play at the beginning of the season. So anybody in Winnipeg, how cold is it going to be yesterday? I guess I'm rolling winter coat. I guess I'm rolling winter jacket tomorrow.
There's windows?
Yeah, the windows will be open. Yeah. But you have to be open for a playoff game.
There are windows, right?
Yeah. No, there's
So,
windows.
like, yeah, 1
so it'll be
degree
chilly.
makes
I like
sense.
that feel though. So might even go like nice fancy toque. Not when we go on the air, but I'd be wearing it maybe during the game.
Yeah, why not?
What's a fancy toque?
Oh, just a plain black TSN toque. It's really not fancy.
I was going to say there's an Edmonton Sports Talk toque you have, but okay, that's cool.
Good thinking, Matty.
I should try to sneak that in. I'm going to start plugging EST like crazy in the West Final with 1 million people watching.
Not on your Twitter account, though, eh? You still haven't changed that.
No, I'm changing it this weekend to listen to Edmonton Sports Talk now.
That's the play.
That is good. All right, keep the soap opera names coming in here. 780-218-9999. Did you end up picking it? So what deal did you just make? What's just happening?
I don't even know.
You don't even know. Who
are
are you?
Somebody came in, and I was thinking maybe it was the hangout. I'm looking, I'm like, that doesn't look like Reed or Murray. And that's not Tommy.
Yeah, well, Tommy's not going to be here. It's 8:23.
Well, then he was putting something down, and I'm like, so yeah, wasn't expecting that. I thought maybe a prize pickup.
Yeah, but that's early. Our office hours are 9 to 1:30.
Yeah, this was for Chris, and he gave me a Jason Robertson there.
How do you have to look it up on your checklist? Did he not just give you the card?
It's over there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now how many do you need for the set?
Like maybe 6, 7.
Oh, I thought you were
I thought
getting
he was
the
bring, I thought he was bringing my Ovi.
You got somebody else bringing an Ovi?
Apparently. Man.
How many left?
6 or 7. Okay. It's single digits right now. Like, it's the home stretch. I need one more ice gems and a couple others.
This is so different than the old place. Hey, like we're listeners just randomly wander basically right,
Chris
into
was
the studio.
praising you guys. He said he wants more of this. Congratulations, He's loving it. So just passing that along as well.
You're gonna get more of it. We're not going anywhere, except up. Right, www.edmontonsportstalk.com. Make sure you download the free TuneIn app as well. Let's continue with the Oilers conversation. We're going to get to Darren DuPont in a little bit. The Edmonton Oilers last night. It was kind of weird seeing. We don't know exactly what was said from Woodcroft or Manson, but it sure looked like to me, it looked like he either said that might be it or we might be fired. And it was pretty clear that Manson looked like he said, yep. Or I don't know. Maybe we're reading too much into it.
Do you want to get lit?
And he said, yep. Oh, that's a good one.
It makes sense given the current situation.
Should we tie one on here? Yep. Not a bad idea. That could possibly work as well. But yeah. I don't know. It's not a great It's not a great
The
book.
lip reading of your coach and assistant walking off the ice before American Thanksgiving is like, I know I was talking plane tracking before and seeing Gallant at the airport, but this is, yeah.
Oh, you're going to get the video? Yeah. This is for people watching, obviously, to be tough for everybody listening on TuneIn. Maddie's going to throw the video up here, and we can try to have a little lip reading fun.
Read those lips.
Maybe he's saying, hey, should we text in on that soap opera bit?
Yeah,
and Madson's like,
bit.
Yep.
Lit.
Bit. Maybe he said, boys are going to have a good bit on this.
Yeah.
And Manson said,
Yep.
I think DL is in. It says it's not Woody's fault, folks. I will go on the record right now. I would not fire Jay Woodcroft. I don't know if that makes me a crazy boy. He's a crazy boy, but I would not fire Jay Woodcroft. I'd have your leadership group actually wait for it, lead for once, and get your team out of this. Start finishing the ridiculous amount of chances that you are getting. So, if you disagree with me, that's fine. I think we all have our own opinion on this, and you can justify it one way or the other. You really can. There's no real wrong or right answer here. It's just a bunch of different opinions. And for me, I wouldn't fire this guy. Let's try to get a peek here on the video.
Just chasing that game once again, trying to find a way to tie it up late.
It's tough to see. Tough to see what he said. There's definitely a yup there. There's definitely a yup there. How about that cut to the Sharks fan where he's just like almost doing like the Joker clap, like Heath Ledger in the prison cell?
Yeah, are they going to be moving anytime soon with the amount of fans that were down there too? Are we having that discussion?
Yeah, I mean, the good news for the Oilers is nobody saw that last night.
No,
I don't know what they announced the attendance was, but
it's carnival atmosphere.
It was pretty dead in there. Guys, my 7-year-old is on Woodcroft watch. She goes to the same school as his kids. She's been told to go to the school office and call me if and when his kids are pulled from the school. You guys are all sick puppies. You're all sick puppies. Imagine a daughter running down the hallway. I have to call my dad. Why? What's wrong? Woody's kids just got taken from class. I just don't see that. I mean, that's just dark. I wouldn't fire him. Would you fire him? I know Maddie would fire him.
Question.
Maddie would fire him.
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't fire him. You wouldn't fire him?
Nope.
I think it's just such
Not today.
So you guys are just okay with mediocrity. That's cool.
Yeah. And we're also running McDavid and Draisaitl out of town, right? By demanding
accountability.
Yeah. That's how these things work.
It's funny. How can people claim the coach needs to hold them accountable when if anybody says anything negative about either of those guys, even when they're struggling, the entire city rages on you? You can't say that about Leon Draisaitl. He scores a lot of points. These guys, if Woodcroft gets fired, they're coach killers. It's that simple. They've had a lot of really good coaches here, and it has not worked. I would keep Woodcroft. I said it, and I hope they've done this, but they need to go to this group and just say, there's no changes coming. We built this team, and people around the league looking at our roster thought we were going to be Stanley Cup contenders. There's no little help coming along the way. Grow up and get it done. And grow up. Like, when I say that, I mean mature on the ice to the point where one of your leaders takes a stride over a 20-second stretch and covers the guy who's wide open in front. And then doesn't make a sarcastic mark in the post game saying, nice observation. Like, it's time to grow up. And you're not going to do that if you just get a new stepdaddy along the way. Like, they have to grow up as a group. And just making a coaching change again just tells them it's okay to still be immature. What do you think? 780-218-9999. This one's in. SJ in the Kootenai says, you can't keep talking accountability and keep the coaching staff after losing to a biblically bad team. So last night's loss is just on Jay Woodcroft? It's not on Darnell Nurse making a horrible pinch along the way. It's not on just a really bad bounce that somehow went to Hurdle and Vander Kane was not there to be on his man. And it's not on Leon Draisaitl or Dylan Holloway for leaving a guy open in front of the net. Yeah, you're right. It's just on Woodcroft. That's why they lost last night. Come on. It's such an easy out. If you take the easy way out again, you will always take the easy way out, and you're not going to win a championship in any single league ever if you just continue to allow them to take the easy way out. We need to get – so our little office here, there's a lady down the hallway who's moving, and then there's a psychologist over there. We might need to bring her in and just turn the desk into a couch and have her talk the entire city through this right now. Because it's a mess. Tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk. 780-218-9999. Something good is happening in this city, and we've mentioned it a number of times. It's going to be the local spin today for United Sport and Cycle. They say you're home of hockey, but let's be honest. They're your home of sports in this community for over 95 years. Anything you need, they got it done down there. United Sport and Cycle, fourth generation, family-owned and operated business for over 95 years. The University of Alberta Golden Bears are looking for a championship. Darren DuPont's going to be calling it. He joins us right now. Dupes, good morning. You came in at just the right time, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I don't have my psychology degree, but I can walk you guys through this because, I mean, you're right, dude. No easy way outs. Like that was like, let me give you an outside Edmonton perspective, right? I mean, when they went to the final in 2006, it was, how could you not love this team? This was a team that worked hard, that had to earn it, that went through some crap to get there, right? And it was a bunch of guys who were Oilers. And then not so long ago, it was, the first picks, the top 5 picks. And it was kind of like, what can we do to get Edmonton there? And they haven't earned it. Well, now they're kind of going through some stuff, right? The playoff exits, this. And I think it's making people fall in love with the Oilers outside of Edmonton a little more. The more crap they go through. And when they finally break through it and go, it's going to be good. But just stick with it. Don't try and just replace pieces and, fire the coach, work through it, and you'll be fine.
Well, there you go. I like that advice. Patience. Patience is going to pay off here. We'll get to the Canadian Football League in just a second, man, but we've been following, obviously, the Golden Bears. I was joking about it earlier. I mean, we worked a lot of Bears games together over the years as well. But I used to come into the old place and be like, man, Golden Bears lost 72-3 last night. Like that was a real tough one. Just, it's not the case anymore. Like, I know people like 3, 4, 5 years into the Chris Morris tenure were like, this dude's not going to turn it around. But they stuck with him. He continues to just build like an O-line factory. And he's got a quarterback now. He's got this running back and Peterson that's absolutely incredible. Like, this is not some sort of Cinderella run. Like, they have built a championship contender with the Golden Bears, haven't they?
They really have. And it's not like they haven't had some guys. Like, it wasn't that long ago Ed Elnicki won the Heck Crichton. But to think that, they hadn't had a winning season in that long, to go 6-2 for the first time in that tenure. But I love Chris Morris, man. Like, I've watched him from when, we started doing those Canada West games to now, and to see him grow and evolve and the things that he's done, like, it's pretty cool. So no, they're a team, man. I mean, they always graduate linemen to the CFL and to the pros. They got 2 all-stars on that offensive line, another one on the defensive line. They've got weapons everywhere in the receiving core. And they finally, what he mentioned was the first time it feels like in the tenure, they have a quarterback who can play, right? Eli Hetlinger. Like, he can throw the football and he can play. He's a local kid. They've been recruiting him forever from Harry Ainley. So, yeah, they've earned this for sure. And I know you guys joke about it, but, you got to go through the champs. And to beat Sask, like, twice in the regular season, you kind of thought, okay, Saskatchewan's won the last 2, 3 of the last 4. They'll beat them in the playoffs, and they didn't. They smoked them, right? That was a huge statement. So I think it'll be fun.
Now, they've played UBC twice and lost those games this year. So what will they have to do? Tell us a bit about UBC. Like, where are they vulnerable? How can the Bears get this thing done?
They're not really vulnerable in a lot of places. I mean, they got 2 tackles in Theo Benedict and Gio Manu, who are probably going to the NFL. Like, there's been 15 schools, give or take, 15 NFL teams, that have come through UBC to see these kids in person. And some of them have come multiple times with multiple different people. Like, that's crazy. Like, my understanding when Laurent Duvernay-Tardif was getting the attention in the NFL, it was like single digits, like 5 teams came. So you got to find a way to get some pressure on Garrett Rooker. It didn't happen for Manitoba. But one thing Manitoba did really well last week to get up by 14 points is, they controlled the run game. Didn't let Isaiah Knight get going at all, made their receivers uncomfortable, and then took what was given to them. Like, they got some production on the ground in that opening half. I think like over 100 yards on the ground in the first half. So there's some room there for Peterson. They're going to maybe need to get Rosary involved on the ground. But there are some paths to victory here for the Golden Bears, for sure.
And I guess, Dupes, that leads into a question as well with Peterson and the U of A rushing attack. And then UBC and Rooker, you mentioned the offensive line, big, strong. Which would you attach your wagon to in this battle? You mentioned U of A can control the clock if they so choose. Maybe that is a path to victory and keeping that UBC offense off the field. But just Rooker, Peterson, And then looking at the opposite, UBC's rush defense and Alberta's pass defense. I mean, who do you kind of like emerging out of this game in terms of storylines, whether it be Rooker or Peterson for U of A?
It's tough. Like, it's hard not to say UBC because they're the number 1 seed and they beat them twice. And, Alberta showed you can beat a team 3 times and when it matters. It's so razor thin as to like who personally I'm pulling for. You get to know all the different people involved, all the different players, coaches, that type of thing. And you kind of get an idea of, geez, who's the real like feel good story here? BC hasn't won in a while either since 2015. Yeah. And, it's kind of interesting that they haven't had this game at home since the 90s. So that's interesting to me too. I think, it's razor thin as to who has the edge here. One thing is there's rain. It started last night. I don't think it's raining much this morning yet, but our producer, Dave Roberts, sent me I don't know if it's from the National Enquirer or what, but he sent a screen grab, as you know. And he said, Arctic, system moving through the coast, and there could be up to 100 millimeters of rain throughout the course of the weekend. And I'm like, they might cancel the game if it rains 100 millimeters. But
I hope they don't do that, but that could factor into it, right?
Sure it could. Yeah. And in that sense, Isaiah Knight's great. Those 2 tackles are really good. Their center, Gavin Cokes, is good on UBC. But I would give the edge to Peterson and Alberta in that situation. If it's going to be a running game, keep the ball on the ground. I think Rosary adds another, element to that because he, can run the football. So I would give them the edge if the rain starts to come in a little bit.
How special is this Peterson kid? He's in his 4th year. I mean, he's nominated for the Heck Crichton Player of the Year in Canada West. What do they have on their hands here? Like, what's his future look like, do you think?
It's a good question. He's really shifty and he's got speed. And I think, that vision is probably what can maybe get him to the next level. We saw Ed Elnicki have a better season statistically and, didn't work out for him in the pros. But, the kid is he's just good. Like when you think he's wrapped up, he's shifty and he can find holes, and then he's got breakaway speed. So he's fun to watch. He really is. Haven't seen too many backs like this come around.
And who's on the call? What's the crew? Who do you guys got this weekend?
Oh, we got a big crew. So Justin Dunk and Doug McLean will do color. Love working with both of those guys. And then we've got Dave Thomas and Matt Young down on the field.
Beautiful crew. We can't let you go without talking some CFL. Bombers looking to get to a 4th straight Grey Cup. BC Lions and Vernon Adams coming in as hot as ever. How do you see this West Final playing out, buddy?
How do you I guess the question for me is, can Vernon Adams, if it does get cool or the conditions aren't 100% favorable, you don't know exactly what's going to happen between now and the weekend. How does he play in Winnipeg outside when the elements could be a factor? I know it's not going to be bad. Like you and I know it's going to be.
There's not like a snowstorm coming or anything, right?
No, it's not going to be minus 20 like it was last year at this time through the prairies. So that should be okay. If the conditions are fine, I think BC's got a really good chance. I think Vernon Adams has an opportunity. I mean, he's playing so well. How can you not? But at the same time, they keep throwing around this word bully ball in Winnipeg. And to me, that scares me. When they say bully ball in the playoffs and they've been to the last number of Grey Cups, I mean, how do you not think Winnipeg's got an edge to get back to the big game again?
Before we let you go, buddy, who's the next head coach of the Riders? Give it to us.
Well, apparently Scott Flory didn't deny it when he was asked about it by Ray Morrison, I guess, more than once. So, no, I don't think it's Scott Flory. I'll go with Scott Milanovich.
Scott Milanovich, bringing him in. That'd be interesting to see how it plays out. He's obviously a guy that they would love to have there. Dupes, have a great call, buddy. Hopefully it's a tremendous game.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
There you go. That is Darren DuPont with DuPont Media and Can West TV. Matty, how much 2 cents to watch that game this week? You got to watch it.
I'd have to double check, but 2 cents. Yeah, it was 2 cents when I paid.
Pay for it, right?
I was paying for TELUS TV or CanadaWest.tv. I don't know what the cost is for that one, but if you have TELUS TV, you can go in the pay-per-view area and usually just go. And earlier this year was 2 cents. I don't know if it's playoffs and they bumped it up a couple bucks.
They should.
Wheels has been paying $2. He said. Who's
been paying $2?
Wheels paid $2. It's
Wheels paid $2.
You don't need to.
Nah, it was 2 cents for me earlier this year. Look, I called it on the hangout a couple days ago.
It's a great crew. It's a great broadcast. Did you call that a couple
Bears
days ago?
winning. Bears winning.
I'm going to take the over 150 rushing yards for Peterson. Chris Morris just lets that O-line eat, right? Run downhill.
Keep the clock.
That would be pretty incredible, man. I hope they win it.
Next Saturday, we got the Mitchell Bowl, Mitchell Cup. I always forget which one it is. Here in Edmonton, baby.
That'll be so amazing.
Yeah.
They can get that done. That's your local
Let's do
spin.
it, boys.
Your
Let's
local
do
spin
it.
on the Golden Bears for United Sport and Cycle, supporting hockey in your sports community for over 95 years. We do have a gift certificate to United Sport and Cycle for the local spin, and we're going to give that away right now. You heard his name come up there with dupes. Who was the last Golden Bear to win the Heck Crichton? We like to refer to him as future Prime Minister of the country. Who was it? Text the name of their last Heck Crichton winner right now, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, and you will go into a draw for a $50 gift certificate to the fine folks and our great partners at United Sport and Cycle. Once again, all you have to let us know who was the last Golden Bear to win the Heck Crichton. Pissed off Graham texted in today. It's funny because he texted in on November 8th as well, which was 2 days ago, as just Graham.
Oh,
Today he's texting in as pissed off Graham. P-O-G. Keep the coaches. Bring back the old system. Let the players play as they just seem lost out there. Grow a pair and bench nurse. Fire the GM for the love of God and the goalie coach. Problem solved. Run a practice with a bunch of sticks lying on the ice. Maybe the Oilers will learn to avoid those when passing or taking shots. Problem solved. Pissed off Graham. The whole system thing, Mike Johnson said it this morning. Sean Bell has said it on Edmonton Sports Talk. Matt Cassian has said it on Edmonton Sports Talk. Luke Gazdick has said it on Edmonton Sports Talk. These are guys who played professionally. And they said, enough with the systems talk, because there can't be a single system ever that is too difficult for National Hockey League players to understand, so stop using it as an excuse. Do you think the system changed to the point where they just can't score goals? Like, what's the issue there? You think that's part of the system, is to get a bunch of shots and not score on any of them? You think that's what they designed? That's what Jay Woodcroft's trotting out there? No chance.
Colton chimes in, it's not on any coach. The team was never built to maintain success. We were blinded by a record PP and ridiculous scoring. It's on Holland. This team has never been able to defend.
I mean, without the power play going, this is kind of what you get.
Blinded by the light, blinded by the PP.
This is what you get. We said earlier on the show today, you expected them to have average goaltending at best. They haven't even got that. You expected them, I know you don't want them to, but if you weren't expecting it, you're a fool. But you should have been expecting them to make errors defensively, because that's who this team has always been. And how have they always got away with it? By outscoring their problems. And when are really tough times to outscore your problems? The playoffs. And that's why they haven't had the ultimate success over the last couple of years. So right now, the only thing that's different really this year than any of these other years is they're not outscoring their problems. And let's not pretend like last year there wasn't a bunch of grade A scoring chances against in front of the net. Like, this is not new. This is who they've always been. But they're not scoring. Goals for per game in the National Hockey League right now. I can't even believe I'm looking at this. The Columbus Blue Jackets score more goals than the Edmonton Oilers. The others are scoring 2.58 goals per game. That's like almost 2 goals less than they were scoring last year per game. And this team is just not physically or mentally capable of allowing less than 3 goals in a game. So you're not going to win when you're only scoring 2.58 goals per game. Teams that are scoring at 2.58 goals per game right now. Chicago Blackhawks, that's just Connor Bedard by himself, basically. The New York Islanders, the St. Louis Blues, the Washington Capitals, and my God, are the San Jose Sharks bad. The Sharks are averaging 1.3 goals per game. They're on average losing by 3. They're allowing 4.38 goals per game. They are only scoring 1.31 goals per game, and they beat you yesterday. They have to score goals. And who's supposed to score goals? And it's like their bottom 6 does nothing. They have to do more than they're doing.
Which last season did quite a bit for correct?
Yeah, compared to this one.
Compared to
yes.
this one. That's another
But
point.
somebody in the Nasty chat earlier today, and I liked the message. Thank you for it. I didn't read it at the time. But they basically said at this time last year, McDavid and Draisaitl had combined for 58 points. This year, they've combined for 25. Same stretch of games. 58, 25. That's not even half the production that they were bringing to the table last year. And you wonder why this team has only won 2 games. But they're getting chances. First in expected goals for. So is it on Jay Woodcroft that this team can't finish? He's coaching them to get the chances, but they're just not scoring the chances. It's the reservation thing from Seinfeld, right? You can take the reservations. Oh, yeah. You just can't hold the reservations. The Oilers can get all these chances. They can get all these expected goals for. They just can't score. So I don't know what that means, but the issue with the Oilers is the unexpected issue of them not being able to score. Now, they also have allowed the second most goals in the league at 4.17 goals per game. The only team worse, the team that beat them last night in the San Jose Sharks. But they were, by no stretch of the imagination, a defensive juggernaut last year either. Last year, the Edmonton Oilers allowed, where are they? 3.12 goals per game last year. 4 is significantly worse. 2 teams last year ended up allowing 4 the entire year. That was the Ducks and the Blue Jackets. The Oilers last year 16th in goals against per game and first in goals for at almost 4 goals per game. Now they're scoring about 2.5. That part of the game we should expect them to get better in, right? Like, the other stuff's just who they are. They're not trying defensively. That's who they are. Getting average goaltending at best, that's who they are. Not scoring goals is not what this team is.
Are they making the playoffs?
I still think they make the playoffs, and I wouldn't fire Jay Woodcroft. So maybe I'm a Looney Tune. 780-218-9999. Those of you who got Ed Ilnicki correct, congratulations. You'll go into a draw for that gift certificate from United Sport and Cycle. Guys, I know the expected goals for stat, but watching it, does it not feel like we're getting those real chances? It seems like perimeter chances. There's a lot of perimeter shots.
Yeah.
So you think Jay Woodcroft's telling his team, don't go to the net hard? Like, a coach would not say that. This is on the players for not working hard enough to bury these chances. 780-218-9999. What are you laughing at?
Watch went off again.
Yeah,
every time you go on a rant, my watch beeps. I don't know why it's happening.
But it's like a really old watch, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So why is it beeping?
I don't know.
Is it?
Again, it's every time you go on a
the batteries dying?
The battery has to be dying.
Is that the sign of a battery dying?
That might be it. I'm going to have to get it. Now I got to get a new watch.
What do you mean new watch? Just get the battery changed.
New watch battery. I
okay.
That sounds like something I do. I just get the new watch. It's like, I don't know how to get in here and change this battery.
Well, you don't. You let others do it.
Well, you go to a watchman?
You go to a watchman?
Yeah, go there.
That's cool.
That's done.
You know what? I went yesterday. I went across the street to Seductions.
You did?
No, I didn't go to Seductions. Nice little mini mall we got over there, though. Yeah.
I love how you've changed. Because when we first said go to that spot, you said you don't trust that strip mall because it's a sketchy strip mall. And look there, and then you go one time and you're like, this is the greatest strip mall ever.
He's getting used to the hood here.
I guess what I've learned is that you shouldn't judge a strip mall by its cover. And I went into this registration place yesterday where I think their name is We Are Registrations.
Perfect.
Of course.
What else do you need?
And they were great. The lady was awesome. I think she convinced me to get personalized plates. Yeah.
Upsold you?
I think
you got upsold at a registration office?
Redid the license photo.
I think I did.
Yeah,
I think I did. I think I'm going to get So 7 characters. If there's a space in there, then it counts as one of the characters. Yeah. So 7 characters. So I could go AM nasty, all one word.
Sure.
Now, would people just view that, do you think, as am nasty? As like, I am nasty? Or do you think they would go as AM nasty?
Am nasty.
Right?
Well, it could be taken a lot of ways, but I do love the you and the personalized place plus the realization of what a full tank of gas costs, and the
truck is going to be expensive. I mean, whatever.
Might as well get the personalized place at this point.
You can do cool things with it, right? You can haul stuff.
It's a little more.
Drive. Feel safer when you drive. It really does.
High up.
Help people move when they ask for help.
Depends on who it is. But what do you think I should get for personalized plates? What do you think about EST Boss? That's 7. That's kind of neat. I think that might look good. Estabos. Like
Estabos.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, it gets
Established
people thinking
spot,
and talking. Yeah. Hey, what's with the thing? And you say, oh, it's Edmonton Sports Talk.
EST Talk. That's 7.
Oh, but just EST?
Can you put a QR code on it?
God, how can you not put QR codes?
And then it just be just go right to the website.
Joe says DSTYEST. So Dusty EST basically. Stupid Good Looking says EST 2023. That's not bad.
AM Dusty.
AM Dusty. AM Dusty's not bad. That's not bad. AM Dusty. That's what I am.
What about Nielson TSN 1260?
That's not going to work there. Plus, I'm still holding on to that one for my Twitter handle. Nastiest. Now that's 8. Come on, Mike.
Your
Needs to be 6 or
your
7.
fantasy league there, the Kerfloat or whatever.
The
you could have
Kerfloat. KRFFL. No, too long. Too long. I could put like champ.
Dunya.
I could put champ.
Dunya.
CFL CHMP. Now then people think chump. That's not a good idea.
See, Dunya could fit. That's what makes it such a great league.
What
could
about
even
GS?
go on a vanity plate?
GS friend. Hey, you could be Glenn Suitor friend. Suits. Just get suits. That's a sign of a friendship. I personalize my plate for you. Suits.
Glenn FND.
Or a D plus G.
What do you think?
GSDN. Just
There
you guys
go.
are together.
Together forever.
GS space DN. That's one where Suits like starts to go like, what's going on here?
Well, he's getting you friendship bracelets. You
Ah,
one
that's
up it
true,
with the
yeah.
vanity plates.
You got to meet
Raider
in the middle, right?
Jesse says nasty DN. That's not bad actually. Hey guys, does that strip mall have a cocktail lounge? No, it does not, because strip malls don't have cocktail lounges, and that pick should have been denied in the strip mall draft. We'd already taken a bar. A bar was already off limits. Why would somebody have drafted a bar
That had
earlier?
that exact strip mall actually had a cocktail bar before.
Is it there now?
No, but it's happened.
Well, it probably shouldn't have been allowed to be drafted. That one still it always rattles me.
Just because you lost.
No, that's because
you
I
can't
moved-
handle
I
your
moved-
losing.
I moved early on the bar, or somebody moved early on the bar.
You want to know something? Suck it up.
Oh my God. Suck it up, he says. Suck it up. Ooh, I like this one. 6 o'clock. Suits BF.
Suits
Suits
BF?
BF works. That's 7. Conch me. Conch me 7.
What about Bo Forever?
Oh, Bo Forever. That's
That'd be a shot across the bow.
Conch me's not bad.
Conch me's
actually.
great, yeah.
People would know. Like,
Well,
although
you
some
get
idiots
you
would
get a
probably be
honk.
like, "What?
Yeah.
Why'd you got conch me?
Conch me.
Charch. Conch me's good. I like the conch me. That's pretty good. All right, let's get into the wrap for William Huff today. What a show! Man, the hangout's going to be great today too. Who's on the hangout today, Matty? Who do you got?
Reed Wilkins from the Oilers Radio Network and 630 Ched.
Beautiful.
Murray McCourt from the VIP Golf Show as well as the Ranch Golf and Country Club. And just walking
I was
through
gonna say,
the
Murray,
door.
is Tommy here yet?
Just walking through the door.
Unbelievable, this
Tom
guy.
Gazzola of the
late
Oil
night,
Stream.
Late night.
So did Reed.
I think Reed had a late night too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure Reed's postgame went just as long as Tommy's. Why was Reed in before him?
That's he got here. So that's and then I'm just stopping by and I'll just sit
You're
there.
just gonna
and
be popping in
Let
and
them
reading.
go at it.
Yeah,
and
the
then,
hangout's gonna be great. You guys gonna talk Oilers?
Maybe in the second half,
Yeah.
if there's nothing, if we have some time after we get through everything else, we're gonna dissect Thursday Night Football
NBA
for the
in-season
full
tournament resumes
the
tonight.
in-season
You got 9
tournament.
games to,
Recap some Europa
dissect.
League from yesterday. Preview the Premier League weekend. And then if we could get to those Oilers.
You'll get to it.
Carve it
You'll
out.
get to it. Let's get into the wrap for William Huff. You want your place to look as good as ours and Commonwealth and Rogers Place. Get it done at William Huff. They've been wrapping things and doing cool marketing stuff since 1972. Visit WilliamHuff.com for all of the details. And I know we've put them in touch with a few people already. So they're getting some biz. So that's great news. Great news. Eric, what'd you learn on the show today?
You remember Patrick Kane?
I do remember Patty Kane.
Yeah, he appears to be eyeing the Eastern Conference as he narrows down the list of teams he's willing to join. So just a pile.
Buffalo Sabres.
Well, yeah, but
Here
there
we
was in the
come.
summer. Everybody's like, "Oh, you add Patrick Kane to this group, and away we go." They'll win 2 cups in a season, and now he'll be in the East, as everybody kind of figured. And yeah, Buffalo Sabres, and away we go.
What did we learn on the show today? I guess Maddie's full on Fire Woodcroft.
Yes.
And you and I are not.
And Holland.
And Holland. Okay, they can't do just Woodcroft, right? Like it would have to be
I'm
both.
for the Holland thing.
I think it would have to be both.
Or you have to make it very clear that somebody else is making the calls with this organization.
Yes.
Not Holland. Like
and I know
he is the advisor. As long as he's not doing anything.
No more shots of him up in the press box. Like
he didn't make the coaching fire. He didn't hire the interim or whoever comes in. That has to be clear in that move that I'm all for.
I also learned what the peanut butter guy was, and that was really nice.
Yeah, man, it was cool seeing Peanut Butter Kid.
Yeah, that was a great. I really
really
liked that.
great reference by Mike O'Shea. Like, I am 100% the Jiffy Peanut Butter Kid. What? No way. That kid was great. All right, let's get to your text of the day today. We were looking for soap opera names for the Oilers' start to the season. My goodness, we have a lot. This Paris Jewelers inbox took an absolute pounding today, everybody. Thank you very much for hammering that inbox at 780-218-9999. Let's go with this one from Freezer Bag. He's going to win that gift certificate to A&W, $20 gift card to A&W. Lieutenant Eric will be in touch via text message a little bit later on today. Freezer Bag will win text of the day today. The young and the arrogant. Ooh. On weekday afternoons from 1 to 2.
Who's sleeping with who?
Really good question.
It's at 4 o'clock.
It's on at 4 o'clock. The young and the arrogant?
That's Coronation Street, too. But since it's CBC, it's across the country, so you can get it different times staggered.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be pretty
Coronation Bleak. If that would have come in via text,
it'd be the same with, all the soaps.
That's how
if you have the time zones, you could get all the different ones.
The young and the arrogant from Freezer Bag. Okay. Freezer Bag wins text of the day.
Love it.
Today, what did you watch The Young and the Restless? Was that like a soap? Is that how you know?
It was.
We all go through that little phase.
Passions was the one I got into.
Passions was unbelievable.
Young and the Restless, I did get into it a little bit, but that's my mom's watched it for as long as I can remember. And my grandfather. He used to always. It was just like we set it up. Like we knew 4 o'clock. We got to set him in his chair so he could watch Young and the Restless. My grandma, she was more into. I think Days of Our Lives.
Okay.
But no, Young and the Restless.
All My Children. Remember All My Children?
Yeah.
All Ken's children.
Young and the Restless always knew, and I always would tell my mom because it doesn't air 2 days of the year. March Madness.
Okay.
Because the Thursday, Friday, CBS is busy because that's where it is on the South. And I always give my mom the heads up, like, hey, it's college basketball. You're going to lose your show a couple times this week.
Your shows. My mom used to watch All My Children and General Hospital. And then it was after we moved into town, Passions became a thing. And our family would record Passions on VHS and then watch it after school. That was wild.
I did that with
Timmy
PTI.
And the Witch and that's more understandable.
No, but with VCR though, setting that up was not
because you could pre-tape, you could preset it too.
But
right?
if you got your time wrong or like you were gone, and
kids don't even know. No. Now you're sitting here watching us from a sketchy office in West Edmonton on your 70-inch television today.
You could rewind it.
And you can rewind it right now.
You go back to yesterday's show, whenever you want.
I hope somebody's taping us on a VHS. Though.
Me too.
Wouldn't that be great? I'd love to see this.
Fergie's prostate. That's on you, man. You got to be recording us on VHS. All right, Hangout's coming up. If you are watching on YouTube this morning, you're not familiar with us just sending you right over to the Hangout, make sure your autoplay is turned on. It's in the middle of the YouTube screen. There's that little play button. Turn that on, and when we head to the Hangout here, you'll just be taken right over for more great discussion on the Edmonton Oilers. Do they make a coaching change today? Yeah, I wouldn't do it at all, but we'll see what they end up doing today. Reed Wilkins, Tom Gazzola, Murray McCourt, Matthew Iwanek taking you through the next 2 hours right here. Lock Shop today will be Huss and Pat and Jake from Coolbed, and then Maddie and Tommy Gazzola on the Oil Stream today. I am off to Winnipeg to call the West Final.
Enjoy Winnipeg.
Thanks, man. I think it should be good. Enjoy watching that Golden Bears game this weekend. Hopefully they can get it done as well. And we'll be back on Monday putting out more fires here with the Nielsen Show on Edmonton Sports.
3 more thumbs up for the 200.
Oh, come on.
How did we not hit
3
200
more
already?
3 more.
That alone. I don't even want it.
I dropped down for me a little bit.
I don't even want it.
3 more.
It should have been. Somebody took a
we're
thumb
at
away.
199. One more.
Somebody
That's
took a thumb away.
disrespectful. 200. There you go.
How are we not at 200 already?
Here we go.
Come on. This is a good show today. For Mr. Lean, Lieutenant Eric, I'm Dustin Nielsen. Tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk. Tell them to download the free TuneIn app, and they can listen just like we were on 1260 still, except there's no static anymore, which is really nice. Have a great day. Take it easy.